Today we have a spicy one where we are comparing, we are contrasting, we're taking a look at what One Piece does better over an up-and-coming card game, Riftbound, and then vice versa. We're taking a look at Riftbound, we're seeing what does Riftbound do better than the One Piece trading card game. And we have our first guest, so stick around for that. We also have some promo card madness, which is going to be really, really fun to talk about. But before then, as always, we have two different giveaways, but for one of them, we already have two winners. So the giveaway winners for the Straw Hats from the Dodgers game. The first winner is going to be XX the King, LLXX. And then the second winner is going to be our local mail.
Shout out Dan.
Dan!
Shout out Dan. I'm going to say this.
Cleans. You guys were the winners.
I'm going to say is this, Dan. Now, Dan says he delivers the mail in San Diego area. Dan, are you sure about this? You're wearing an LA Dodgers hat in San Diego area. We know some Padres fans. They are a little rowdy. They are a little rowdy. But, Dan, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for all you do.
Yeah.
And hopefully you get some nice wear and tear out of that one.
So you guys reach out to us on Discord, Instagram, TikTok, and we'll get those sent out to you ASAP. And then, of course, we have the 10,000 subscriber giveaway where we're giving away an OP09 booster box as well as a 25th anniversary Nico Robin PSA 10. That'll be fun. We're at like 6,100 now. It's crazy.
Up and coming. We're looking like Patrick Starr when he's climbing the rope over the mountain. Slowly but steady. Or over the light bulbs. But before we continue on, I have to do something. I was a naughty boy. I was a little bit of an improper lad in the comment section. So shout out Snyder Senpai, our boy Jordan. Rage baited me into saying the F-bomb twice. So that's
Oh, wow. We're starting it off, dude.
That's 2 for Jordan.
Hello.
And then C-chan also, I may or may not have used.
How many times did you cuss in the comment section, bro?
I may or may not have cussed 3 times in the comment section.
Okay.
So
Hello.
I'm a man of my word. I told them both. I'd make sure to add to the jar. I want to make sure the people at home were tracking.
I mean, look at this jar, bro.
We are.
It's like
I don't even have any singles over. I'm going to have to re-up during our little commercial break. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Okay, guys, let's get it. Okay, well, first of all, my name is Dominic.
And my name is Nick.
And welcome back to Buzz Watch, where we take a look at all things One Piece trading card game, but more of an emphasis on the collecting side of things. Okay, let's get started. All right, One Piece promos.
It's getting bad.
It's
getting bad.
It's funny because we talked about promos, was it last week or the week before?
We have been ranting about promos seemingly on and off for the last 3 weeks, but
yeah.
It's actually getting bad out there right now.
The round 1 promos happened. Number 1, the wave 2 happened, so there were signups for wave 2. I believe that will happen, I think it's September 1st, where those second wave of cards will come out. But we had the first wave happen, where people went to different round 1 locations, and they waited in line, and this is where it gets a little spicy. I saw a tweet from someone, hopefully I can find it and put it on here, waited like 16 hours.
Don't worry, we have DMs from Rigo. Shout out Rigo. Love you, brother. Telling us that he was there for over 10 hours.
Wow.
Over 10 hours to get these cards. Burbank, I heard some crazy things about over there.
Apparently it's just
Puente Hills is where Rigo was at.
I've heard some people got their cards in like 2 hours. I've heard some people get their cards in 10 hours to 16 hours. Actually insane. But again, one of those things where these cards are selling for like $250 a piece if you just keep it in the pack. So you're making, I guess you spend $200, and if you sell them outright, you're making $2,500. Let's say eBay fees. Let's just say you're making about $2,000. About $2,000 for the whole set. That's pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy. If you're waiting 10 hours, you're making like $200 an hour to do that. And that's where God, these promos are just so hot, dude. But can you blame someone for waiting in line and being so obsessed with getting these cards when basically you have a freaking double stimmy check for waiting in a line for 10 hours? It's crazy.
Yo, shout out the Stimmy check. That was a throwback.
Damn.
That was a wild time. Getting
That was a wild
getting that $2,000 check, man. What was that?
was
Don't we supposed to be giving like a tariff check at this point? Anyways, no politics on the couch. But this is going to lead to an overarching theme for this section in particular, which is actually going to interconnect to our later discussion with a certain special guest about Riftbound versus One Piece. And that is negative publicity now starting to stem from promotional events that were once so positive. Shout out, I feel like we're doing it every episode. Might as well just put up his logo, Sealed Treasure. Shout out Sealed Treasure. gave incredible insight from his own personal life and career, talking about how he's worked with corporate individuals and how a lot of the mindset is centered around instant gratification. People who are executives, businessmen, along with seeing the profitability that comes from the collaborations, love seeing the positive publicity. They love seeing that these cards are going in milliseconds, and they love seeing the community appreciating them, bringing great light to the card game. But as we're going to get into, there has been several negative publicity moments, starting with the round 1 stuff, people waiting in over 90-degree heat for over 10 hours to be able to get a trading card. It's that to me, that does not come across as something you take good pride in if you're Bandai. And there's going to be several other things we're going to talk about as well after this that I think are also negative publicity in some regard. This in conjunction with the fatigue that people have been talking about throughout the community when it comes to these promotion cards. A great example of this, which shout out Straw Hat Speculator. He had his mega stream yesterday where he had 5 great individuals who are collectors in the One Piece trading card game sphere and community, all talking about what their opinions are in certain aspects of the card game right now. And one of the questions that was posed was whether or not they were feeling promo fatigue, and every single one of them said that they were feeling promo fatigue. And these are people like One Piece of Insight, Luffy on Deck, who invest an extraordinary amount of time tracking this stuff. Yeah. So if you have the people who are the diehard of diehards doing their best to grow the game, telling you they're getting fatigued with this stuff, God knows the average person must be feeling fatigued. So
it's crazy, and you make a good point where the negative publicity can affect how we view these promos. I think the sad thing is I actually think this is more negative publicity for like round 1 instead of Bandai. I think on Bandai's end, I really hope when they are in partnership conversations with these companies, they are telling them, hey, this is what you should expect. You should expect a lot of people to come and form a line. You should expect scalpers to come to the front of the line and ask people to buy their cards. There should be some, I really hope, I don't know if they are, but I really hope they are educating round 1 and other companies that they plan on working with. I think the museum was a clear example of they did not know what the hell was going to happen to them. And I think the bad publicity, I feel like, happens with the company that is working with Bandai. And I think for Bandai, I don't think they're giving a proper heads up to the companies they're working with. And I think, I'm trying to think of the word in my head, but I can't think of it. I just think Bandai needs to...
Adequate notice. They need to prepare these people to be able to understand the needs for staffing, because you mentioned an important point, which is, I know Wimmy, who is a former content creator, she has her shop where she makes a bunch of accessories and stuff. Mm-hmm. She posted on X yesterday that she had a pretty easy experience getting the card. Yeah. And then we're hearing stuff from Rigo, who is waiting in line for over 10 hours. And you're hearing stories of people waiting in like 90-degree heat, trying to get these cards. Yeah. Over 12 hours in some instances where they're giving away like a bundle at a time to people. It just comes across that they were not adequately prepared.
Exactly. Like some shops, I mean, maybe some shops are just going crazy. Or maybe Wimmy was at the start of the line. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I think there needs to be adequate notice to these companies that they're working with that, hey, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be insane. For the promo fatigue, the more I've thought about it, the more I think to myself, like France hasn't really had a promo. So the museum one makes sense. That region gets to have their promo. And the United States is where you start to get a little fatigue because we have like the Dodgers
even Japan.
Game,
we'll get to Japan in a second.
1. Oh yeah, Japan has some crazy stuff.
We
too.
have some stuff to talk about with Japan.
I think it depends on where you're located, and I think some people were like, they said something along the lines of, just because you can't get every promo doesn't mean there's fatigue. And I think, because I really wanted to think about that. Like, okay, let's dissect that.
That was actually the number one comment in terms of people arguing about promo fatigue was people need to drop the mindset of I want everything.
Yeah. And I think it just depends on where you're located. In the United States, it feels crazy.
My counter argument to that was there's a difference between wanting everything and not being able to get anything.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
I
the
agree
difference.
with too.
If
I
I
agree
want
too.
one thing and I try to get that one thing and I can't get it, okay, cool. But this goes back to what you're saying. When you have multiple L's that stack over time, that is where the fatigue comes from a player, but also from a collector, right? When you are doing, let's just say, I don't know, you did 3 of the last 6 attempts to try to get a promotional card in the game, and you weren't able to get any of them. And you think about, okay, well, I just invested all this time. I was there at second one. What's the point of me doing this? And this is a comment that we see a lot, by the way, of people just venting out their emotions, saying, I'm tired. I'm tired of trying to get this stuff to participate in a hobby that I love, that I've been doing for the last 2 years, and I can't do this anymore. And that is why we
The constant L's are
exactly,
crazy.
and that's why we feel like, of course, it is our duty more than anything to try to make the community the best version of itself, make the One Piece trading card game into the best version that it can be, to bring up these issues, despite it sounding like us ranting and complaining. If we are feeling this, as we saw yesterday with the mega stream, so are other people. And I think a majority of the community is feeling this fatigue.
Yeah. I guess my consensus has just gotten to the point where I like when there are promo events in other regions. France hasn't had one, and I don't think it's fair for me to be complaining about a promo happening in France when this is like the first one that they have, or a promo event happening in some other country and this is the first promo event that they've had. Every region should have a chance to get some kind of promo card. But my point still stands for us, where we have round 1, we have all the things happening on Premium Bandai, we have the Dodgers game. L's start to stack mentally, especially when you're a player and you're trying to get these promo cards. And I do think there's a lot of fatigue in that. Round 1, let's talk about the cards. These are selling for like $250 a pack right now. So number one, I want to talk about, and I know you're making the face, and I want to lay up. Do you think these are a buy right now?
Absolutely not.
Hello.
And the number one reason for that was the announcement of Wave 2. Yeah. This is telling me that there's going to be subsequent products, as we discussed several times, in relation to the profitability on both Bandai and Round 1. We just saw that the other day. I know Arnold, shout out Arnold, he sent us some videos of him and his family that were out round 1 yesterday. They were picking up a lot of the merchandise out there that they were giving out outside of the cards, bought some drinks. I'm sure they spent some money being able to get some food. So Round 1 is making a lot of money off this. Let's not act like they aren't. And what's going to happen? Do you think they're going to want to continue this promotional event? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I would for sure wait on all this stuff. We always emphasize waiting for everything to hit circulation. So I would monitor this after the Wave 2 comes out. I know there's some discrepancy in terms of what the window is. I can't remember if it's late August, early September.
I think it's September 1st. I'll give my buy zone. I will buy, Wave 2 happens, I'll buy it maybe like 24 hours after Wave 2 happens.
I'll be waiting probably 2 to 3 weeks after Wave 2.
That's fair.
Because I figure by then they would announce subsequent waves just like they did now, where Wave 1 came out and then it was, 2 days before the release that they had Wave 2 registration. I imagine if they do a third wave, that's when it
I
would
will
come
say
out.
they announced Wave 2 before Wave 1 even happened.
You know, that's what I'm saying.
So I don't think they'll do a Wave 3, but I do understand where your head's at for sure. There's
no rush.
Yeah. As a Zora collector myself, I'm fine with paying $50 extra, sometimes even $100 extra, just to guarantee that I'm going to have this card in my collection. So as a Zora collector, that's why I'm going to be buying like 24 hours after Wave 2 happens. Just kind of reminds me of like the Zoro playmat that happened. I thought I was buying high. I bought it for about $350.
You bought that real low.
And then I bought that real low.
But, I mean, that also goes to the Treasure Rare, right? And that analysis that you had when you first recommended the Treasure Rare Zoro from OP16 as your Buds by the Week months ago, where you said that you didn't want to gamble it going to the moon, and then coincidentally, within a week, it jumped $100.
Yeah.
So I agree in that there probably is some better timing that can come from just waiting for the second wave to come out, and you don't have to wait the full 2 weeks, but make sure everyone has their packs out and everyone's selling it. You're going to see that reduced pricing. But one thing I know for sure you and I can agree on, and what we're going to emphasize to you guys here, do not buy any of this stuff right now. Do not buy any of this stuff right now. Mm-hmm. Just wait. we always preach that you want to wait for all the products that, if you're interested in collecting, to hit circulation. And we have confirmed Wave 2 that has not hit circulation. It makes no sense to purchase this right now. Again, no rush.
There's going to be 18,000 of each card.
Collecting is a marathon, not a sprint. Take a step back. If you're feeling some FOMO about this, close social media. Understand you're probably going to have a better opportunity within the next month.
Yeah, especially for like the low tier straw hats.
Don't you talk about Jinbei like that, Frankie. Don't you dare do that.
There's going to be 18,000 of each card. There's 9,000 people per wave, and they're able to get 10 packs each, and everyone's going to get 10 packs. There's going to be a lot of each card. And right now, I think Zoro was selling for like 450. Sanji was like 200. And this is a day or two after Wave 1 happened. Imagine another, literally a 2x of the supply coming out onto the market. For the popular characters, I think it's a little bit up in the air. I do think everything will fall. Depending on the character popularity, I think will determine how much it falls. But I could see Zoro, Robin, Luffy, Nami, those cards probably maybe even staying around the same price. But I do think it's still smart to wait for Wave 2. And I'm waiting probably about 12 to 24 hours after Wave 2. Nick is probably going to be waiting anywhere from
1 to 2 weeks.
1 to 2 weeks. You make your own educated guess. We're just letting you guys know what we're doing and how we're handling this, so you guys can make a more informed decision on that. So, pretty cool. I like the cards, though. I do like the cards.
They look great in person. Yeah, from the images I saw.
Speaking of promo card madness, we're going from the United States all the way to Japan. Mr.
The Bug's
Worldwide.
international, baby. That's like a nice 10-hour flight from us. 10-hour flight.
There's some drama. Shueisha has issued an apology to all the mangaka who are in Shonen Jump for the recent handling of the latest issue, because the latest issue came with that 29th anniversary promo card.
Yes.
And there are apparently a bunch of magazines just kind of laying everywhere because people are buying the magazine just for that specific card. And they've even come out and said, borderline, it looks like they don't even want to do promo cards in the magazine again. So it's pretty crazy what's happening. We'll have some images of magazines kind of everywhere and stuff like that, but there's stuff happening in the United States, drama happening in Japan, crazy stuff, man.
It's Happy Meals 2.0. Remember when Pokemon did the Happy Meal collab in Japan?
Okay.
And people were buying 20 Happy Meals and just leaving them on the side of the road?
Yeah.
What's crazy to me is Japan is a very respectful country. There's a lot of formality.
That was surprising.
It seems weird to me that people are just leaving this stuff, which kind of implies to me maybe there's a lot of foreigners who were there picking stuff up. I don't know. But this connects back to what I was saying about negative publicity. Can you imagine the long-standing history so far that Bandai's had with Shueisha and Shonen Jump in terms of having promos for not only One Piece, but all of their card games inside of those volumes?
Yeah.
And Shueisha coming out saying that they're going to have to reanalyze whether or not they even want to do promos in the future because they don't want people just to be buying the copies of the mangas, to be leaving them on the side of the road and throwing them away. They feel like it's a disservice to the mangakas. I got to give Shueisha credit because my take on this with Shonen Jump after the amount of the red Luffys that entered circulation was, I think they just want to make the bottom line. They just want to make as much money as possible, but they are planting their flag. And they're saying, look, this is getting bad. When you're seeing photos around Japan of stacks of the 29th anniversary volumes just sitting there, and that promo, just the art from it sitting on the back cover, gutted of the promotion pack and just left to sit out in the rain, it's a problem. And this is what I'm saying. Back to Sealed Treasure. What did he say? The executives love eating up all that. Oh, we sold out of this in 5 minutes. We made so much money. This collaboration went great. How do you think the executives are going to feel when they have one of their longest standing partnerships? I would say in the IP would be Shonen Jump with One Piece.
Yeah.
Saying, look, we might not even be able to do promo cards in the future. Like, this is getting real bad.
It looks bad having your magazine on the ground looking like trash. That's probably where they're like, okay, this looks really bad. When you have your magazine
the Happy Meal
just
treatment
looking like trash, like, yeah, I agree. That's pretty crazy. It just feels unprecedented that people are continuing to consider a promo card being in a magazine, a promo card being given out at an event, a promo card being given out XYZ location, that it's just a stimmy check.
It's a form of currency at this point.
It's just, I'm getting money. It's so unprecedented. It's such a weird time in society. I'm trying to formulate my actual opinion on this, but I feel like it needs a little bit more time, little time in the oven. It's just really weird.
Look,
it's just really weird.
Let's not act like there hasn't been a time in humanity where someone was trading a shiny shell for something. Currency is whatever people want to give value to.
Yeah.
This dollar is worth $1 because society deems it's worth $1.
Yeah.
It's not because the material is actually of
Yeah,
value.
yeah.
So that goes back to trading cards, and that's why tangible items have become so popular, in my opinion, because there's been a lot of distrust in terms of,
AI.
of currency and just terms of crypto, all the forms of currency. I think there's just been some distrust from society, which is why people are clenching on to things they can touch, and tangible things. I think it's something Julian.
I really want to have this conversation with him.
I would love to have this with Julian, and maybe in discussions with him about potentially doing something like that. But I 100% agree with him that I think the reason why the trading card boom has happened is because with the development of technology and everything becoming so untouchable in terms of your accessibility to information, communication.
You don't own games.
Exactly. Because of that, people are clenching onto things that they can physically touch and giving it value.
Yeah. I would love to further this conversation with Julian because I have a lot of thoughts on how society is moving towards more like an analog world and a world that's moving towards like a digital era and AI, and there's a lot of stuff happening there, and I agree. There's a lot of people, and I read some kind of study where the kids nowadays are gravitating more and more towards analog stuff, towards real life activities.
Because they're so used to being plugged in, and that's the thing, right? We were raised in the in-between phase, the transitionary phase, where as millennials, we were used to analog life for part of our life, but at the same time, we were raised into technology. So I can imagine the contrast, though, where it's if you're used to all analog and you get shown some technology, you're like, man, I really want to check this out. I want to dive into the technology. But on the flip side, right, when you're constantly plugged into the virtual world, where there's no greater relief than touching grass. Getting some fresh air, getting reconnected with yourself amongst things that you can physically touch and understand and see.
And that's why I feel like we're in this trading card renaissance right now, and I feel like this will last a lot longer than people expect. A lot longer. I think a lot of people expected this to be like a traditional bull market where it's these card games are going to go up and there's this thing that's happening for 2 to 3 years and then there's going to be a bear market and then prices are going to fall. Dude, I think we are in a day and age where, like we just said, there's just a lot of digital things happening. There's a lot of AI. There's a lot of distrust. I hate going on social media right now because it just feels like there's a lot of bots. There's no genuine connection. There's nothing genuine happening on those websites, it feels like, anymore. And that's why I love our comment section so much, because it just feels like
there's a connection.
We're having a connection.
It feels human, and that's the thing about the implementation of AI. And this is a phenomenal conversation for another day. But
we got to talk with Julian about this.
Just because I'm really curious on what Julian thinks about this, right? Julian coming from a background that is so creative,
so anti-AI.
It's so derived in creativity, right? He comes from creating music, creating his own manga. Yeah. So I don't think anyone would have a better knowledge in terms of how these feelings resonate with people more than him, because he operates in a world of tangibility and creativity. But the point I was trying to get across was I think that's why also more than ever, people being their genuine selves resonates so much on the internet, because there's so much of a facade that goes around and people putting on these narratives and these stories and these personas just for the purpose of getting clicks. And while it might do that in the short term, what people hunger for is connection. Yeah. And while the internet and technology was supposed to operate like that, right? Instant messaging, text messages, access to the internet, email, all these things were supposed to connect us. But it's at the point where it's actually, I think, starting to separate us as well.
Well, let us know what you guys think about that. I think that'll be a really interesting conversation. Let us know if we should get Odd Wolf Hunts on the podcast as like a second, third, fourth guest.
That would be a fantastic conversation.
And having a conversation about an analog world, trading cards, and what that means. It's a more broad conversation, but I think it's super exciting. And I think it's super forward thinking. So pretty cool stuff. All right, guys, let's talk about the Flame Fruit Tournament. I think you're eating your words.
I might be eating some words. I told you. Let's give context. I'm just saying, I told everyone, I gave the disclaimer I have no problem admitting I was wrong. Eat my words if it comes out that there might have been some shenanigans. So go ahead.
Flame Fruit Tournament, just a recap on some context on what we're talking about here. So the Flame Fruit Tournament, biggest trading card tournament in the world, 5,000 player tournament, sold out in about 10 seconds in the United States. Nick had the take that he thought that there was just so many players, and that's why it sold out so fast. And my take was there's...
you said it got scalped. You thought it got scalped.
It got scalped because there were retail items included with the ticket. We had some disagreements about that. And so why this is important context is Bandai came out with an announcement.
Very rare from them. You know it's serious when the communication comes from the Bandai HQ. You know shit's serious.
I'm not going to read it verbatim because it's like
just
2
paraphrase.
pages. But paraphrasing it is there were a lot of signups that technically are not eligible.
They're saying it's sus. They're just saying there's some.
Yeah.
They did an audit on the back end, and the registration looks sus for a lot of people.
So there's a lot of people who didn't correctly fill out the form that when you actually pay and you do this thing, you're supposed to fill out a bunch of information. And apparently that information that people were supposed to fill out, a lot of people either didn't do it, incorrectly did it, whatever it is. So Bandai came out and said there's a lot of people who incorrectly did this thing. We're taking a look at it. We recommend you to come early. I believe it's like the Friday before
to ensure that
you get in and that you can fix it. They're not saying that they're gonna like exclude. What the hell am I saying?
Disclude is a pretty word. Exclude, yes. That's
Exclude. They're not saying that they're going to exclude these people from the tournament yet. I'm not sure. I'm hoping for some announcement. As a fellow man in the wait list.
Y'all holding strong.
Help!
You, Alec, anyone else on the wait list, y'all holding strong right now, man. Y'all looking like Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man stopping the train right now.
But they are recommending a bunch of people, if you did not fill it out correctly, to make sure you get there early to ensure that you filled it out correctly so there's no problems day of. That's the gist of it. And why we're bringing this up is just like we said. Nick didn't think there was a lot of bots and all this, the scalpers, all this stuff.
Look,
I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Look, man.
But I would say if this was on Polymarket, your odds just went way down, bro.
I got a couple things to say about this. There was 2 things that came to mind when this first happened. Number 1 was, okay, I mean, I question whether or not I made a mistake. Honestly.
That's true. That's true, actually.
You had such a brief period of time to be able to grab this stuff that I
You're
even
just rushing through it,
thought myself, I was like, bro, did I misclick something? Did I put my middle name as my first name, bro? I'm going to have to get there early, bro. Am I going to be paying $1,500 to show up there? And they're going to be like, hey, dude, you spelled your first name wrong. Yeah. The ID doesn't match up. You're out of it. Now, I don't think it's going to happen, but that was the first thing that came to mind, which was there could have been a lot of user error here. The second thing that came to mind was, and this took a ponder, actually. This was...
Whoa, shit shower?
When I was running errands yesterday, the brain was processing. The brain was processing.
Shit ponder?
It wasn't a shit ponder. It was a dry ponder. So
dry ponder.
Remember, dry ponders is like existential life. It's...
Okay,
You're thinking about things on the outside.
I'm there,
right? So, I was running errands, and, as I was running errands, I had just read it because I sent it to Dom, and Dom said, and I quote, "I'm too busy, give me a TLDR." So I was like, man, it's really making me read this 2-page thing. I read the 2-page thing, give me TLDR. I don't even know if you read it from there, but I think I have a pretty good understanding of what it said. Mm-hmm. Pondered it for about a day, and I woke up with the conclusion today, I think this was botted. I think it was botted, and this is going to be very problematic if it was. And the reason why I think it was botted was because the information missing and the emphasis by Bandai about this targeting people not being able to sell accounts and spots. Mm-hmm. Because when I was thinking about this, it sold out in 10 seconds, right? That is typically something you see when someone's operating a bot in terms of selling out rapidly. Yeah. How hard would it be for someone to plug in a bot with a bunch of different Bandai IDs? They made all these email accounts, they linked it, and now out of nowhere, Bandai is saying that these look like ghost accounts. That implies to me that this was botted. It would make sense as to why it sold out in 10 seconds if that is the case. And I just got to know if this is true. Well, first of all, I'm proud of you, Bandai, for doing this audit because I think it was necessary and the community needed this. Yeah. Because the negative publicity that would have happened
If no one showed up to that thing,
you show up and they're out of a 5,000 person tournament, let's just say hypothetically there's only 1,000 people. Do I dare say there might be a riot outside of the facility? There might have been a riot outside the facility. So Bandai, thank you so much. This is where we always give Bandai their kudos, and then I'm gonna give them with a little bit of a. It's called like the hug punch or whatever it is.
Sure.
Punch jab is whatever. It's a jab punch. Sorry, jab punch. Jab him saying great job, and then I'm gonna hit him with a little bit up top.
I like that.
Which is. We gotta find a resolution now. This has to be like red alert. SpongeBob running around when everything's on fire in his brain. This has to get solved. You have people spending thousands of dollars to travel this event, and you're telling me there's a chance they show up there and they might have accidentally put in some information incorrectly, and there is a possibility that they don't get to go into this tournament after spending this money. Brother, this is Bandai.
Yeah,
this is going to be a problem.
Could be a shit show.
And the other thing about this as well, that why they need to figure this out now, is so they can remove all the people who have shady accounts with no history, no name, no Bandai ID linked. They need to be proactive about this, because I'm telling you, the worst publicity possible is people going to this event and there being 1,000 people out of the 5,000 people, especially when you and others are sitting on the wait list who weren't able to get in. You guys need to, and I'm talking directly to the secret Bandai agent watching from Bandai HQ. You got to go run to your boss's office right now and say, we got code red. The buds just said, we got to figure this shit out now. Because
I agree. It could be a shit show.
This is we're talking about negative publicity. Can you imagine this?
Yeah.
Where a 5,000 person tournament only has, we'll just even go high. We'll say like
2,000.
3,000 people show up.
3,000 would still be a bad look.
3,000 people show up out of 5,000, or that 3,000 or only people able to get in. Because at this point, I'm thinking this, bro. I'm thinking if this actually got botted and someone is either selling spots, as in they're selling like a Bandai ID to people to be able to get in, or the flip side where they're just going to have, they're just going to be diabolical, man. Diabolical, bro. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. But on the flip side of that, bro, they better have their great-great-grandmother showing up with a damn cane, walking into this tournament, not even able to speak any English. Like, hola, ¿cómo estás? And she's going to be there with a starter deck, ready to play, just to get that merch, bro. Just to get that merch. I'm telling you, dude, you're about to see a flock of just uncles, aunts, third cousins twice removed if this shit actually got botted and they found a way to just have a random person be able to throw the information in at a later date into this account.
That's pretty great.
Bandai has to address this. Has to be addressed prior to this tournament. I'm telling you.
I totally agree. I think it could be a shit show. We'll find out. Let us know what you guys think.
I'm telling you right now. This edit this to say Nick's words. I will eat that bad boy up, bro. I will eat that bad boy up.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think of the Flame tournament and how that's happening and the Bandai statement. Like I said, we should have had that on screen. You guys could read that. We'll also link it in the bio or the comment section down below, and you guys can go read that for yourself. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there for sure. I guess in better news, another wave of the 29th anniversary happened. We're seeing a lot of people checked out.
It's good. A lot of people
getting the 29th anniversary thing, which is great because we missed out on that initially. Then we got the email that said, "Hey,
good old secret stash.
Got a little secret drop.
Got that secret stash, baby. Hello."
And I've been
Bandai. We always give them.
Gotta give them a float.
We'll be quick to give them a handshake, even a hug, maybe even a pat in the back, but no, him with that.
But yeah. I'm always pleasantly surprised at how Bandai reacts to scalping and all that kind of stuff that happens. I'm pleasantly surprised with how they're...
Real quick, I have to add in, they actually use that word in the disclaimer. In their written statement, they talked about...
Oh, the flame fruit thing?
The flame fruit. They talked about like a scalping deterrent.
Yeah, makes sense.
And
yeah, I think they know what's going on. So I'm happy to see that there's more waves of the 29th anniversary thing happening because that sold out way too quick. Then the email happened. More people got it. Then there's more. I've seen like 4 different announcements saying that there was a
shout out Andy Clucks.
Yeah, so pretty cool stuff. I'm happy that more people are getting that 29th anniversary. I hope Bandai continues to ensure that people are able to get the products that they release on that website. Specifically, I'm praying for playmats at some point. At some point.
We're about to talk about playmats later with a certain guest. And I'll tell you, there's one card game that knows what they're doing with playmats, and it ain't One Piece TCG. It ain't One Piece TCG. But Just to kind of wrap up what we talked about with the repin, the 29th anniversary, it kind of reaffirms a couple things we always talk about. Number one, never buy pre-sale. Never buy pre-sale. You just never know, right? These things are pre-selling for what? $500, $600, $1,000?
Yeah.
Something
crazy.
ridiculous, right? Never buy pre-sale because of this exact reason. You just never know if they're going to have a subsequent wave print, and it's very risky. Second thing that this proves, Bandai's listening. And this is the kind of product that people need to get a W on. This is a product that should be printed to Kingdom Come. The damn set comes with a play set of each version.
That's awesome.
Like, that is great. Yeah. This is something that everyone should be able to have. I want to see that be a $5 card. I want to see that in everyone's binder. Everyone should be able to resonate with that art and say, I'm able to participate in the One Piece trading
Everybody
card
needs
game.
a dub, like you said.
Exactly.
Man.
And this is the kind of thing where people need dubs on, right?
I agree.
Like, the more exclusive stuff where you have the Dodgers Luffy, you have to go to a Dodgers game in Southern California. It's way harder for someone to be able to get that W if they live in the middle of Minnesota, if they live in the middle of Ohio. But everyone should be able to get a dub on a product like that, which should be printed to demand. So
yeah, totally agree. And then the last thing before we get started on our main topic, which is Riftbound versus One Piece, that's going to be fun, is the One Piece Day 2026 Luffy.
Trouble.
We're in trouble. That card is gas.
Trouble.
Really, really
it's one of those
good.
things, too. It's funny how I just talked about like cards everyone should get access to. That one ain't going to be one.
They print those a lot, right? Usually?
For this one, they are literally doing a raffle system. They've never done a raffle system for these before.
Yeah,
ever.
I thought these were printed a lot, to be honest.
They were printed a lot. Like, the pop counts are still high on it, but this is one of those things where I don't think pop count is really going to matter because of how much of the demand is going to be. It's going to be, I'm not going to say it's going to be like the Dodgers Luffy Leader 2.0, but what I am saying is there's going to be a lot of demand for this bad boy, and you know it's going to be a little problematic when they utilize the R word for raffle. When you see the raffle system, I'm praying for a secret stash. One more time, dealer. Secret stash me.
It's like it almost looks like a manga, but it's not. It's obviously not a manga.
Dude, that card.
And it shows some characters for the first time that we obviously can't talk about. Really, really cool. Really, really, really cool. I like this card a lot.
Going back to promo fatigue and Bandai being in their bag, this is just another one on the mantle. Another trophy they got to throw up there. They really...
They're too good at what they do.
They do such a good job with card design, and we're going to actually talk about this at length in our next discussion, our main topic. But Bandai's card design, I think, is currently top notch.
Nobody even is close, dude. Nobody is close when it comes to the design of a card. It's not even close. It's Bandai with One Piece right here. Everyone and their mom's grandma
Pokemon there, and
right
then
here.
Everyone else.
It's not even close. It's not even close. This card is exceptional. Exceptional. I love this card. But to be fair, they always go crazy with these cards. Like we have them right here. You have the first one from 24, second one from 25. Obviously, I'm assuming you're going to get the third one from 26.
I'm pro. I know that raffle. Nick and raffles, if there's one thing I've learned in my life.
We've never won one.
They ain't good. Not good. When you see a raffle in this household, we just accept the out.
Just know we're getting it out. Yeah, but these cards are usually super good. They always are in the bag with
and the thing is, too, like these, dude, I bought this set for $60.
Yeah. You
could have bought these sets, and this is like boom. The boom already happened. Yeah. You could have bought. I remember I made this recommendation as
actually. I remember you bought an extra one. You were like, "You want this?" And I was like, "Nah, man."
If you want it, you can still have it. I got a 10 on both of them, bro. So I got my PSA order finally that I put in 3 months ago. Coming home, and these two were in there. Spoiler alert. I got 10 on both.
I was about to make a joke that, damn, I'm really wishing I put
No, bro, I'll give that to you right now, man.
I believe you.
We got Dom's birthday tomorrow, bro. Shit, I'm about to walk out here. Those two can be missing. I won't even bat an eye, man. Hello, happy birthday. But
they go crazy with those cards.
Dude, I'm telling you, the fine folks at Bandai, you say all the shit you want, communication,
spoiler!
Body situation. Boy, that ain't a spoiler, bro. We talked about that 20 minutes ago. Hello? True, anyways, but if anything, you just spoiled the spoiler. I almost dropped the F-bomb. I only got $1 left. I can't cash that one. I can't cash one, bro. Bandai has always been in their bag when it comes to this design. They undefeated.
Yeah, so a lot of promo stuff happening. Let us know what your guys' thoughts are on all the drama that's happening with round one, the drama that's happening in Japan.
We've been talking about a lot of drama lately, man. Total drama couch.
You remember Drama Alert with Keemstar?
Don't even talk about
Let's get right into
If there was an award for cringe, I'm pretty sure that would win. Wow. I was never a fan of that.
Even worse than when I said Chopper was Pikachu?
I promise you there is nothing worse than hearing that noise. Let's get right into the news. We're about to get copyrighted for that, knowing my luck.
Okay, so let's move on to our main topic today. And we have our first guest appearance ever, which is AJ. Third Bud. The third Bud. He focuses mostly on Riftbound. We obviously, you guys know that Nick and I love One Piece. He loves Riftbound. So this is a spicy topic.
It's gonna be a hot one.
First guest appearance, we had to make a spicy one.
And it had to be our boy. It has to be
the
our third
boy.
Bud.
Yep.
The man, the myth, the legend,
he's on the pie chart.
Borderline running the Pacific Northwest under the moniker Nut Vids with Sound. A young man out of Portland State University, TCGB, AJ.
I mean, you gotta give context. That's his Riftbound name. Nut Vids with Sound. That's a crazy name.
Hey, AJ, what's the backup when you get inevitably banned with the Nut Vids with Sound moniker?
I haven't gotten banned or even talked to. Every TO at every store I've been to, even at the Vancouver Regional up in BC, they thought it was hilarious.
Dude, I just can't wait for the day that he's
peanut butter videos. I love when they make peanut butter.
It's gonna happen. Yeah. And knowing Riot and A Production, they're gonna not realize what it's saying. They're gonna put it up there. There's gonna be some small child wondering, asking their parent, "What's a Nut Vid with Sound?"
You don't like watching peanut butter manufacturing videos?
Guys.
We give a big introduction. Let the man speak about himself a little
bit. But real quick, before you introduce yourself, today we're talking about Riftbound versus One Piece. And this is going to be a really spicy topic. Like we said, I mean, our first guest appearance, AJ, coming on. We got to make it a spicy one. AJ, for all the people who don't know you, tell everyone who you are, who you be, and what you do, man.
Yeah, so for everyone that doesn't know, my name's AJ. I helped found TCG Buds with Nick. It's coming up on 2 years now. And we started with covering Pokemon and then evolved into One Piece pretty quickly. And then we brought Dom in. And the last 6 months, I've been kind of away from obviously a lot of our content. You've kind of seen me pop up here and there. I suffered a pretty gnarly injury in January this year, but now I'm healthy and I'm getting back into content. And what better way to like reintroduce myself than be on Buzzwatch, our #1 program. No, Nick and Dom have been doing amazing with Buzzwatch. I'm excited to be on here. I'm excited to talk about the up and coming TCG Riftbound.
Hello,
by Riot Games.
and okay, so our audience mostly knows the One Piece trading card game. Do you want to just do like a quick introduction into what Riftbound is, where it comes from, who makes it?
Yeah. So Riftbound is a trading card game by Riot Games and UVS Games. That's basically, if any of you are familiar with Magic the Gathering, it has similar playability and interaction as Magic the Gathering, but it has a self-restoring resource system like One Piece. So with One Piece, I know there's a Dawn system. With Riftbound, there's runes, and every turn you gain 2 runes, but you can also, get rid of runes from your total count, yada, yada, yada. We'll get into specifics later. But it's just basically like Magic the Gathering with a resource system that generates on its own, which is like apparently a really hot topic with Magic the Gathering. I can't speak too much on that, though.
And it's created by Riot Games. And Riot Games created League of Legends.
Yes, Riot Games did create League of Legends.
Biggest game ever created.
Biggest game ever created.
Some say one of the biggest mistakes to ever be created. League of
Legends. I don't think it's some. I don't think it. I promise you it's not.
Everyone who plays League knows that.
I'm willing to bet that 99% of my mental health issues in my life have derived from League of Legends. And if you know, you know. That's it, plain and simple. But before we continue on, I want to make sure we're giving value to the community, right? We are a One Piece focused channel. Of course, we have some Riftbound content. So Dom, please explain to the fine folks watching from home why this conversation is so important and why the One Piece community needs to care about what is going on in Riftbound and how that's relevant to the growth of One Piece.
Dude, I would say Riftbound is like, there's One Piece who I think is doing like so much right. Like obviously, Nick and I, massive fanboys of the One Piece trading card game. But
sure about that? Good Phil.
I mean, but I would say like Riftbound is like a close second for me. Like I love what Riftbound's doing right now, and I would say I don't even think the biggest like opponent to One Piece, the trading card game, is Pokemon or Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh. I would say it's actually Riftbound because these two trading card games, they came out, they're both fairly new, and they're both hitting the ground running with a lot of players. I would say most players, competitive trading card game players that I know of, play either One Piece or Riftbound. I know Pokemon is also a thing, of course, but we're not talking about Pokemon. Obviously, everyone knows that's the biggest trading card game in the world. But Riftbound is on our ass. It's on our ass.
It's that snake in the lawn, looking up, peeking its head up a little bit. And the main reason why I wanted to flesh out why this is relevant to collectors is because what have we discussed several times on the pod? We discussed how the biggest enemy to stopping One Piece at this point, I believe, is Bandai themselves.
I agree.
The only one who can really fumble this golden goose, this golden egg, is mismanagement and mishandling, and having a compare and contrast to what Riot is doing with Riftbound and the good things they're doing, even some bad things, and what Bandai is doing that's good that they need to keep up is an important discussion to have because this assists in being able to create more longevity for the card game.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, all trading card games succeeding is good for each other, right? All boats rise when one of them does. However, we cannot act like everyone is made out of infinite money, and at the end of the day, people have to divide their resources. And if Riot continues on this path, and if Bandai slips up a little bit, if they keep on walking down that slippery line, like we just talked about prior to this, in terms of the negative publicity around the promo cards and promo card exhaustion, there could be a little bit of an uprising.
And there's another couple reasons why we want to talk about this is number one, all three of us have been playing League of Legends for
over
11 years.
Over a decade.
Yeah, we know we know League of Legends. We know the IP. We are very familiar.
Some might say Dom and I are very close.
Oh yeah, here's Viego's sword. This is Lee Sin's
Q. So some might say we are very close to the IP.
Yeah. So I also want to give a disclaimer to everyone who's watching this video right now. I think every time you have like X versus Y or Z versus whatever, there's some comparison happening. I think it tends to get a little toxic. So I want to give the quick disclaimer that Nick and I are biased towards One Piece, but we want One Piece to be the absolute best it can be. So we are trying our best to look at this as objectively as possible. So we are totally going to say Riftbound does X, Y, and Z better. And then we're on the vice versa. We're going to say One Piece does X, Y, and Z better. So just a quick disclaimer, because I know things can get toxic when you're comparing two things like this. We are inherently biased towards One Piece, but we do want One Piece to be the best trading card game that it can possibly be. And then on the opposite end, AJ, very biased towards Riftbound, and he wants Riftbound to be the best possible trading card that it can be. So I think we can start having this conversation.
Let's do it.
Riftbound is another reason why we wanted to have this conversation is Riftbound is gaining a lot of steam. It is going honestly a little crazy.
Would you drop the P word? You dropped the P word?
No, I wouldn't say parabolic yet.
It's not parabolic, yeah. Okay.
Not yet.
P word is parabolic, AJ.
But there's just crazy stuff going on. AJ, what are you seeing in Riftbound? Because you've been in Riftbound from the beginning. You started when initially the hype was there. Origin booster box was like $350, $400, and then everything went down. Riot was printing a lot. And now we're seemingly seeing a bunch of stuff go up. What's going up? What are you seeing in Riftbound? I'm curious on what your take is from kind of the inside out.
It sounds like a weatherman. And you're going to see here.
We have AJ with the news.
You go into Cleveland, Ohio, where you notice that we have Riftbound on Origins going for $400 right now. Anyways, AJ, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been in Riftbound. I've been A1 since day one when it came out in September of last year. It's been out in China for like a whole year. Longer than it was in the Western countries. Pretty interesting. It was actually developed in China first and then translated over to English. But from the day it hit shelves here in NA, they just short printed the hell out of it. They didn't think that North American audiences would love the game so much. So their first set Origins was really, really short printed. Almost every local game store in my city and cities above and below me sold out within the first day or two release. And there wasn't even reprints or restocks for, I want to say, almost like 2 months. And so prices at the beginning of the game were insane. Riot then went on to communicate with everybody that they didn't expect this kind of response to their game. And then they were working on really like making a lot of the second set, making sure the third set had plenty of product and so on and so forth. So prices at the beginning were atrocious. Like there's this Kaisa card that's still played to this day. And I think the first 2 weeks of the game, Kaisa was the most meta deck throughout the entire set one, and her champion unit alone was like $110. And I know it doesn't really compare to some of the prices I see in One Piece, but for a game that was slated to be, you know, very inexpensive, playable, kind of really easy to get into, it was pretty unheard of. It was pretty crazy. And those prices stayed around that for like 2 months. Then, of course, Set 2 came out, which was Spirit Forge. There was still not a lot of printing at release. And then they finally had second wave printing for the first time that set. And then prices dropped to close to retail. And then we have had Unleashed come out most recently. Prices have been below MSRP for sealed product, which is kind of where you want to be at for a game that's pretty new and you want to attract people to come play your game. It should be approachable financially. And for this entire set that's been out, it's been below retail. Like I've seen booster boxes for $100, even below at some of the local game stores near me. MSRP is 120, just like One Piece. And then a lot of the expensive cards are like the overnumbers, alternate arts. Like I know One Piece has mangas. We have something close to a manga now called Ultimate Rare. There's only one card that has that rarity so far.
Is that Baron?
Baron Von Nashor.
Baron Nashor, yeah. So it's around a $1,200 card raw, which again is kind of still like a drop in the bucket to the One Piece market. But that was like our first ever like manga print. There's other like alternate art prints called overnumbers, and then there's also like signatures where it's like the alternate art with the signature of the artist, which is really, really cool. There's no seeding or pull rates for those ones either, which makes it really, really hard to pull. I know is there still case like rates for One Piece? Like in each case, you get a certain number of really rare cards. Is that still a thing?
Up in the air right now. OP16, there was a little snuffle there that we don't know if it was intentional or not, but who knows? Usually it is. It's mappable.
Okay. It's seeded. Okay. Yeah. So for Riftbound, for those rarities and above, signatures and above, there's no mapping. It's completely random, which is pretty cool. So there's some cards that have that like One Piece market effect right now of being super, super expensive, but most everything right now is super cheap. And then when you get into promotional, event exclusive, nation exclusive, country exclusive cards, that's where we're seeing that shift in Riftbound right now. So cards that you can only get at regional qualifiers, regionals, nationals, or sealed product that you can only get through lotteries online or at events, those prices right now are insane. Like out of print promos and all of the promos that you have to be in a specific place for. I have never seen prices in Riftbound this high before. Granted, it's been less than a year since the game came out, but it's like popping right now. There's metal cards that you can get at regional qualifiers that were in the $700 to $900 range, and now they're in the $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 range, which is pretty insane. And then when you get into winning promos, kind of like how One Piece has, it gets pretty disgusting. It gets nasty.
You were saying like comparing card prices to One Piece. Man, I've been seeing like some PSA slabs for like the signature cards, specifically from like Origin, like the Ari, for example. I'm pretty sure I saw like
label Ari.
Bro, didn't it sell for like 6 figs or something?
It sold for something ridiculous.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I put it on screen or something, but like, there's some crazy shit happening in Riftbound for sure.
So Kaisa and Ari are outliers. Those prices are not normal. So in China, they love Ari, and I want everyone watching this video to look at me in the eyes right now. They love Ari.
To be fair, I might be with them. I might be with them. Unpause.
So there's a little bit of it's not even a waifu tax. It's like a don't tell anyone you like this tax kind of thing.
Hey, yo.
And there are buyers in China that will pay $400,000 for like Ari best ofs. It's
okay.
Criminal.
We have two characters named Nami and Boa Hancock.
I'm familiar. I'm very familiar.
There's a little bit of a tax. We'll say a little tax on that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for the introduction to the Riftbound. Nick, do you want to add anything before we get into like start comparing and all that kind of stuff?
I do, and I just want to add this information because I think it's going to be really easy for our audience to digest all the information. AJ went over a lot of stuff, and that is the overnumbered cards is the Riftbound equivalent of an SP in terms of hit rate.
Yeah.
The signature card would be the equivalent of a manga in terms of hit rate. And then the new Baron card, I would say, is more so in line with like an SSP Gold Luffy anniversary card in terms of the hit rate. So when we're talking about those specific category cards, kind of have that idea in your brain of, okay, we're talking about an overnumber card in Riftbound. similar hit rate to what an SP is in One Piece, and what does that mean for collectability,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth.
It's good context, and I like comparing a signature to a manga, but it's so weird in Riftbound because there's like how many signatures are usually in a set, AJ?
Anywhere from usually the signatures. Every legend will have a signature. Like for Unleashed, the newest set that just came out. There's one coming out at the end of the month. Every legend, because it's like a leader card. Every deck has a legend that's stagnant on the board. They will have a signature counterpart. For Spirit Forge, it wasn't that. There were units that had signatures. I'm not too sure what Riot's kind of philosophy is with signature cards. I think what they do is the one set will be all legends have a signature. The second set, there will be champion units that will.
If you had
have
to put a
theme.
number on it, what would you say? Like
9
average
to 12,
percent,
9 to 12 cards,
which is crazy, bro.
That is crazy. And the other thing to note about that is the reason it's called a signature card, utilizing verbiage from One Piece again, Oda signature. It has the signature of the artist who designed the card, who made the card art. So,
I think it's so crazy because that's the equivalent of manga for us. But there's like 9 to 12 of them. They're just so insanely rare. Like
it's a big game. Let's not act like there aren't 160 champions in that game.
I mean, it is a big game. It is a big game. Okay, guys. Yeah. All right, everybody. So let's get in. Let's start comparing. Let's start contrasting.
Analysis.
Let's do
looking like Alan from The Hangover right now in the background, doing all the math in his brain.
But another disclaimer: we are going to be comparing. We are going to be saying what's better in One Piece, what's better in Riftbound. Nick and I have been playing League of Legends for 10 years. Listen, guys, we're gonna be comparing and contrasting here. We're gonna say some things you might not like, you might not agree with, but we have no ill will towards Riftbound. Nick and I want Riftbound to succeed. AJ wants One Piece to succeed. Okay, with that out of the way, I know I'm doing a lot of disclaimers, but let's talk about things One Piece does better than Riftbound. Let's start here first. AJ, I want to hear your take on this first. What do you think the One Piece trading card game does better than Riftbound?
Well, just from my eyes, I will say card quality, art and design. I'm not gonna jump into that one. I think the first couple sets that Riftbound printed, card quality wasn't that good. Like a lot of people sent in a lot of the harder to pull cards into PSA, and there was like not a lot of 10s. Not even like their prizing cards have that good QC. I've gotten a couple metal cards, dings, stuff like that. We'll go into what those are, but their card quality and the art, like especially the original art for One Piece cards, is some of the most cool cards I've ever seen. What I remember, there's this one card I kept telling you guys. It was a Stussy SP. I love that card. I still love that card.
OP11. OP11 Stussy SP.
Oh, yeah. That's
a
niche one, dude.
I'm going to say AJ's got a tie. AJ's got a tie.
A pull. No, for someone who doesn't play the game or has played it and just gotten railed, like ankles behind head railed, that card has stuck with me.
I need to put $1 in the jar for that one.
Yeah, put it in my jar. Don't care,
bro.
All right. Yeah, that like the SP art, like the gold trim. Oh my.
Yeah.
It's so good. And I think right now One Piece has the best art in TCG. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah. Let's stop there for a second because I totally agree. That's probably my number one. I remember opening Origins, and like I said, I'm a huge fan of League of Legends. I've been playing it for over a decade. Nick has been playing it for over a decade. So we're fans of it. And I remember we were there day one, Origin release. We opened a booster box, and I just remember being like,
one step away from copy paste anime screenshot, do I say?
Yeah,
one step away.
I was really not impressed with the art. I do think Riftbound is headed in a better direction. Although I will say Vendetta, I was looking at Vendetta and I was looking at like the overnumbered cards and like the Renekton is like, bro, who's approving these cards, bro? Like I feel like we were on such a high going from Origins to what was the second set's name?
Spear Forged.
Oh, that's chef's kiss, dude. Like what an improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we go back down. Like I think they're still trying to find their thing. And to be fair, One Piece in the beginning, and we've talked shit about this a lot. For sets 1 through 4, we think anime screenshots, all that stuff, pretty mid, just from an art standpoint. It took a little bit for for Bandai to get in their bag with One Piece, so I can't fault them too much. But yeah, I've really not been super impressed with the Riftbound art. But when it's good, it's good. And I'm looking at like the T1 collection that's coming out.
Baron Nashor. Let's not act like that.
Yeah, that card's also sick.
But what I will say is, it's the year 2026. You have Riot Games producing this card game.
Yeah.
To me, there's no excuse for the lackluster art. I remember we had this discussion prior to Riftbound coming out, where you and I were talking about, and even Asia was having this discussion about the alt arts just being copy paste versions of the skins that are in the game.
Yeah.
And I found that to be incredibly lazy. I didn't like it personally. But on the flip side of that, the signature art for a lot of these cards looks incredible. That LeBlanc card,
so good.
That LeBlanc card,
God, that
honestly,
LeBlanc
is
card
one
is
of
so
the most beautiful looking cards I've seen
Yeah.
in TCG. And if they continue down this path, I think we're going to start seeing them enter their bag more. And I also do think that Riot is intentionally making the alt art versions themselves look lackluster to bolster the collectability and the desirability of the harder to hit rate stuff, aka signature versions.
Yeah.
So because again, an alt art in Riftbound is much more common to hit, just like it is in One Piece. That's why I want to make that comparison in terms of SPs being the over numbers. Typically, you get 1 or 2 in a case of 6 boxes, but again, there's no guarantee about that.
Yeah.
And the signature cards being more similar to a manga in terms of texturing and all that kind of stuff. So, I do think that the art Bandai just steamrolls. It's not even clear.
It's a clear.
If you put up even the best signature card against the Conqueror Hockey SPs, Bandai, do I dare say, goes belt to ass?
Yeah.
Belt. Do I dare say they go belt to ass to them?
Yeah.
Honestly. But the other thing that I want to discuss, and this is going to transition to another point I know we wanted to make, the number one thing that sticks out to me for why I think One Piece is better than Riftbound, playability. The playability of the game. I have played both One Piece and Riftbound. I will admit I've not played extensively as Dom, and definitely not as extensively as AJ. But AJ's a very good player. I like to think I'm a somewhat intelligent person. I still don't know how to end the game. I still don't know how to end the game in Riftbound. It is a very confusing thing that I've had probably 4 or 5 people, and if anything, this negates my argument that I like to think of myself as an intelligent person potentially. But look, the game is very complex and very confusing. There are a lot of micro mechanics that need explanation. I will never forget when Dom and I first started playing locals and Riftbound was being introduced.
Yeah.
The amount of times over the first 2 months I heard the word judge, because people have no idea what's going on. I even told Dom and AJ, I was convinced that people were just straight up lying what cards did for Riftbound because the block text
people just said some
so
bullshit.
Convoluted on some of these cards. And then meanwhile, One Piece,
it's so straightforward.
I am a brand new person to playing trading card games.
Yeah,
I played One Piece and I was able to figure out the mechanics of the game within 3 days.
Yeah,
it's very user friendly and new player welcoming.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Riftbound, will there potentially be some changes to that? Maybe, possibly, sure. But I think with how good of a game One Piece is versus Riftbound, no matter what, that secures longevity. Unless they continue on this ridiculous power creep meta where people cannot track what's going on and it's making the game confusing, I just can't see Riot ever surpassing
It's funny because AJ and I were playing on like their version of the sim, and dude, I feel like I'm doing something wrong like every 2 turns at like bare minimum. And I feel like at this point I should like have like a general understanding. Like I should know how to end the game. I should know like the basic mechanics of things. And I still feel like, yo, AJ, did I do this right? And he's like, no, you actually got to do this. And I'm like, oh my God. But I will say like, I think there's pros and cons to like what we're talking about. Like the straightforward nature of One Piece, super easy to get into. And I do think that there is a lot of skill expression into One Piece, but I think skill expression is something that Riftbound, I feel like, clears on. And I think
over One Piece
skill expression, because I think there's so many different mechanics that happen.
You think the skill gap is harder for Riftbound than One Piece at the highest level? Is that what you're saying? I want to make sure
Yes.
clear here.
Yeah, I would say that.
Wildly disagree with you, but I'm actually curious what AJ. I'm actually curious what AJ thinks about that.
I mean, I've watched you guys play One Piece.
You also played a little bit. We have a former
I played a little
Blackbeard
bit.
player here.
Yeah.
I tried to make Red Tony Chopper work and it didn't work.
Oh,
but-
I remember.
I did get him to play BY Nami a couple games. He figured it out in about one game. So for all you BY Nami players out there, you know.
It's just like with One Piece, I don't want to say, okay, again, I know I'm new to the One Piece audience. Hi, again, be gentle with me. I'm new here.
Yo, give us all a kiss, man. Give us a kiss real quick. Look at that. I mean, such a handsome man. Go ahead. Sorry, I just want to grab that beard sometimes.
With One Piece, it's very simple. Like you can either attach Dawn to your leader, attach it to your units. You swing. Do they block? No. You take a life. Great. You do it again. Do they take a life? No, they block. Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
With Riftbound, there's like 25 things to consider a turn. And it all is just like every legend has like it could have 2 to 3 different play styles. Like I know with One Piece leaders, it's pretty linear. They have one function and they function one way. Is that correct assumption?
Up until recently, I'd make the argument probably. Especially for monochromatic minus purple and L. I would say up until we hit the power creep meta, I would say actually prior to UP Luffy meta. Because like with Blue Dofi, when Blue Dofi was running, it was very straightforward in terms of the line that you were doing.
Yeah.
And then the introduction of UP Luffy, the different combinations you were doing between Blue Sanji playing into Lin or Katakuri, restanding.
Yeah.
Different functionality. So I would say for the most part of One Piece's history, sure.
Yeah. But with like Riftbound, these legends can be built 2, 3, 4 different ways. Like you could play against Lux and you don't know if they're playing control Lux or they're going to infinite loop you to death, or their tokens if you want to lose a game, sure. Or like even for like Irelia, which is probably best deck in format right now in Riftbound, it could be a Protect the Queen deck, it could be movement aggro, it could be long stretch the game out control Irelia, it could be a lot of things. So it's like with each person, you don't know what you're getting into game one because every game's a best of 3. I know One Piece is a best of 1. And you have a big sideboard too. So it's like you're having to adapt in game, in between game, during the game, before the game. It's like there's so many different things to consider. With One Piece, I feel like it's a lot more clearer. Like your play lines, how to interact with your opponent. Where it's Riftbound, it's like, dude, it could legitimately be anything. And also Riftbound also kind of has Riftbound has a little bit of a meta issue right now with certain cards just drawing your whole deck. And so your opponent has every answer in their hand.
Hey man, we know all about that. I'll promise you that. We know all about that.
We know about that. Yeah. So it sounds like AJ's agreeing with you. So AJ, I just want to be clear, you're agreeing with Dom. You think that's higher skill expression. Okay, so then let me provide my perspective because we kind of just jumped around.
Yeah.
I think One Piece has higher skill expression because I think a new player has an easier time getting in, but the difference between a new player and actually someone who is very good at the game is a very large gap.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, for Riftbound, a new player has a lot to learn initially, but once they learn it, I feel like that gap is much closer between, okay, I understand this game versus being a good player, if that makes sense. And I don't want to speak out of line. AJ, correct me if I'm wrong about that, because I do think that there is some, of course, mechanics like infinite loop Lux, which what that is essentially you're playing Lux, and the whole concept is you get to a certain point at the later end of the game where you just have a loop that allows you to end the game. So the point of Riftbound is similar to Magic. You have a certain amount of points you want to get to. One Piece, of course, is the life system. But the reason why I mentioned that and why I think that One Piece is just a higher skill expression is because of how new Riftbound is. What I mean by that is with the jungle meta we're in for One Piece, you really can see anything right now. And it takes a lot of reps, and I'm not saying you don't need to run the reps in Riftbound to be able to follow what's going on, but there's so many complex mechanics that are coming from power creep as well. Even though Purple NL I think is incredibly annoying to play against, the amount of sequencing and mechanical play that you need to be able to organize through Purple NL and some of these higher end plays. I even think Goofy has a lot of some mechanics that you need to be able to sequence well. I think The
Sorry,
sequencing.
you said Goofy, and I immediately was like, why are
Gosh,
we talking about
gosh.
Lorcana?
For
I thought we were
you
talking about
people
One
at
Piece,
home
not
who don't know what
Lorcana,
Goofy is,
dude.
it's blue green Luffy
Goofy,
that just came out.
Goofy.
I
Okay,
think
sorry.
the complex sequencing in One Piece is just much more common than it is in Riftbound. I think like Infinite Lux is a very complex sequence. I would
Yeah,
put that
you
next to
can't mess
Purple and
up
L in
or
terms of
use.
how you need to operate your sequence to
Sure.
be able to be a very, very good pilot of the deck.
Mhm.
So I think as Riftbound develops and they continue to, once they enter more of a power creep phase, it will probably surpass. But in the interim, if I were to put the two games up to each other 1-1 right now, because of the jungle meta we're in, the power creep that's happened in One Piece over the last 3 to 4 sets,
Mhm.
I think in this present moment there's more skill expression. But I acknowledge that Riftbound's only been out for a year.
Yeah.
A lot of these champions aren't being used. It's not like they are, even though, as we're going to get to in a second, the creation of top cards and metal cards being given to people based off their performance at regionals,
Mhm.
off of the champion they're utilizing. There are just some matchups, and again, AJ, correct me if I'm wrong, that are unplayable. So one that AJ mentioned to me was Annie versus LeBlanc. LeBlanc's just a hard counter in Annie, correct?
Other way around.
Oh, sorry. So Annie's a hard counter in LeBlanc.
Yeah, LeBlanc into any purple deck is a nightmare.
So both those decks are very meta. That more so is on par with what we're seeing in One Piece, where you just sit across from someone, they have a counter matchup. But on the flip side of that, you could have
Insta scoop.
you could have some matchups, or you can have a champion that no one is playing that is typically getting absolutely destroyed, aka Lee Sin, because you have people trying to
Aaron.
get these cards.
Lee Sin,
So
yeah, Aaron.
it Volley Bear. There's just I don't know. I just think that there's much more skill expression presently in One Piece because of the jungle meta versus Riftbound, where it's kind of, and again, AJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's like 4 or 5 really, really good decks. And then the rest of the champions are kind of like meh.
I mean, there's clear best deck and format. But again, every game's a best of 3, so a lot of people tech and sideboard cards to specifically target the most played decks. So there's a skill expression there with like deck building to like build it in a way that you can win general game 1 matchups and then have a sideboard ready to tackle specific threats. But I would say, I mean, we just had a national in China, and one of the top 8 decks was Rek'Sai, which is a deck that recently was just used a lot. Oh, excuse me. Recently used a lot. I think if you're a really good player, you can kind of make any champion work besides like Garen, because Garen is dog shit. Just terrible ability, never gets used. And there's a card in Riftbound called Dazzling Aurora, which makes any orange deck able to win games.
Dazzling Aurora slot, bro.
Dazzling Aurora
The
slot.
yellow version of
Aurora slot, bro.
Aurora
Yeah.
slot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's like a clear top 5, 6 decks every set. And then people make everything work through reps, sideboard tech, and just having a better knowledge of sequencing, play lines, etc.
And this kind of goes really well into what I think another thing that I think One Piece does better, which is prize support. I think Riftbound does really unique things with their prizing, but I think the overall like actual prize that you can get for One Piece, how it's a unique art. There's usually a unique card for top 8. There's usually a unique card for top 16. There's usually a unique card for top 64. They recently just introduced these super sick Luffy and Ace cards being given, I believe, at Extra Grand Battle, and it has like the different characters that were used in that deck together with it, and it's just super cool design. So Bandai will like put a lot of focus into like the prizing cards that they give out at these tournaments. And I was talking to someone at our card shop about Riftbound, and he was telling me that basically what Riftbound players play for, and AJ, again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's like one prize card that everyone gets if they get like top 64, and then other than that, there's a top 8 card, and then there's a best of if you play like if you're the best at your deck, and that's all they have. So if you get something if you're top 8, you get something if you're top 64, and then there's the best of stuff, but there's really not a lot of like unique art that Riftbound does that One Piece does for basically kind of everything. And there's top 128, top 64, top 16, sometimes top 32, sometimes top 8. And it's usually all unique art, and it's really, really cool. Sometimes it's not unique art, but I just think One Piece clears when it comes to, I guess this goes back to the design, but they just clear when it comes to the actual prize cards themselves. I'm not talking about like the structure of prizing that Riftbound has. I'm specifically talking about the design of the prize cards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, for the last couple, so are we talking on like only regional qualifiers and above, or are we talking about locals? Like, you guys have or treasure cups basically are skirmishes. Can you remind me?
So the equivalent of a skirmish would be a store treasure
Championship.
cup or a store championship.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. And then treasure cups, big ones are like qualifiers.
So a regional treasure cup is the equivalent of like a side event for you guys. So the way that regionals weekend works is you have the regional main event as similar to what you guys have.
Okay.
And then on the second day, you know how you won your medal card through going 5-1.
Yeah.
That is the One Piece version of that would be the regional treasure cup, where it's a tournament for all the people who didn't qualify for Top Cut to be able to compete for prizing still.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. So prizing for Riftbound for the qualifiers, for the regional happening in Vegas is going to be very different. So I'm not too familiar with exactly what's going to go on there because things can change. But if you get top 128, you get a game pad or a mat that says top 128. It's usually the original art of an over number. Like for example, for mine, which was Vancouver, it was Vex. So you got a Vex playmat for getting top 128. And then if you get top 64, you get a stamped promo or a slightly different version of the promo you get just for entering. And you get an invite to the next qualifier. And then top 8 gets a very special top 8 promo, a top 8 pad, and then the winner gets a 1-of-1 winning promo, which is the same as the promo you get for 128, the same art you get for entering. It just has winner on it, champion on it. So you get a 1-of-1 promo for winning, a 1-of-1 map for winning. You get this cool shield thing. I think it was a shield thing for the last qualifier with your name on it. It's like metal, really sick for winning. And then obviously because you won, you get the best of for whatever legend you play. And then outside of just placement, prize support, if you get the best record on whatever legend you play, like kind of for leaders. So let's say you went 7-3-3 or whatever on Volley Bear, even though you didn't get 128, you're the best Volley Bear. You get a special, like, it's not 1-of-1, but you get the 1-of-1 from that event, a metal foil version of the legend you play. When those are the ones that sell for tens of thousands of dollars.
And this is kind of what I was talking about, I guess. I think when I was talking with Billy, that's who I was talking to.
Shout out Billy.
Shout out Billy.
Shout out Billy.
He was telling me that you either get top 8, you get the best of card, and those are like the big winners. Those are the big winners. You get top 8 or you're a best of for that specific champion or leader or legend, whatever it's called. Those are the two specific big winners. But in One Piece, you're a big winner. You get top 64. Top 60. There's 64 people who are huge winners when they get it to a tournament.
Getting $4,000.
Yeah, dude. If you get top 64 in a tournament, and they just announced the prizing again, and what is it? Is it Robin or is it? Oh no, it's another Nami.
It's another Nami. Yeah.
It's another Nami. And so someone who gets top 64 gets a prize Nami. And to get top 64, you usually have to go like either 7-3. Sometimes you
Depends on losses. 8-2 is supposed to be guaranteed.
Yeah. So, but I feel like there's a lot more people being rewarded in One Piece. I could be wrong by the specific number, but there's 64 people who are walking out of that tournament feeling pretty damn good. And then in Riftbound, it's the top 8, and then whoever was the best of for that specific champion. I'm not sure how many people are good, but I just think the combination of the amount of people who are just making so much money from going to these events with the intentional design behind the prize support for these tournaments, it just, man, I just love it so much. I wish Riftbound would do more unique cards for their prizing. Like if you got top 64, maybe you got like an RE card that was like specific art for that, and that's what you got for that. And then the top 32, you got another one. I love that. I think One Piece does that really, really well, and I
Yeah.
think they make it super beneficial for these players to take this game super seriously and aspire to be a professional One Piece trading card game player. So I like that a lot.
I don't want to hone too much onto this because I feel like we're beating a dead horse a little bit in that I agree with Dom about the pricing in One Piece being better. But what I want to add in here, and I know AJ can attest to this of his own personal experience, let's not act like there isn't money to be made in Riftbound. Let's not act like these players can make a good amount of money. I know AJ's a really big fan of this Annie player. AJ, what's his name?
Prismaticism. That's the go.
Prismaticism. How much money, guesstimation, Jimmy, just a rough ballpark, do you think he's made since he started playing Riftbound just off of pricing?
Just off of pricing?
Yes.
So probably about like 30K off of just the money from how he won. From his cards, like his best of Metal Annies. I'm not too sure what the prices are right now because again, like event exclusive, very hard promo cards, which are the best of cards to get, are also booming. I mean, before his last two events, he had about $110,000 worth of Annies around his neck that he wore at events. Absolute horror farm.
Diabolical. Gotta
That's
respect
kind of
that.
sick, actually.
That's someone walking up across from you and putting down the serialized Zoro.
Oh my god!
And he did win an event, so he got like the 1-of-1 champion card, the 1-of-1 champion mat. I would say after, and if he has sold most of it, he's probably close to 300K for the 9
in a
months he's
year.
played.
And I'm not saying I know top Riftbound players are making a lot of money. I know that. I'm mostly just saying I think the art behind the intention behind the design for the prize cards in One Piece, I think is just a little bit better. And I think Riftbound can do that better. And then I think there's more people who are making money in the One Piece trading card game just because if you get top 64, which honestly, if you're like an above average player, I think is not out of the realm of possibility. So that's all I was saying. But yeah, like you said, we can kind of move on from there. We're still on the kind of things One Piece does better than the Riftbound. Does anyone else have anything? We talked about art, talked about prize support, we talked about meta. Anything else before we move on to things Riftbound does better than One Piece? Okay, so we talked about card quality, we talked about art, we've talked about prize support, we've talked about skill expression, talked about a bunch of things that we believe that One Piece does better than Riftbound. Now let's go on to the flip side of things. What does Riftbound do better than One Piece? And this is going to be spicy from this side of the couch because, man.
I know you were very passionate about one subsection here in particular, so I feel like it would be a disservice to not let you have the floor.
Me?
Dude, it peeves me to the bone how bad I feel like One Piece is at communication. I can't stand it. I can't stand that it feels like corporation to human being, especially in this day and age where like every company has some sort of spokesperson or community manager who talks to the community and has some understanding of what that community is going through and just lets them know, hey, we hear you. We hear you. I've recently been following more of Riftbound. And I've known Riot for a very long time. And I'm just constantly so impressed when I see Riot employees, specifically for the trading card game in this instance, coming out and being like, yeah, this card is actually a problem. We totally agree. You know, we're looking at bans. This drop didn't really go well. This print wave didn't really go well. We're thinking of this. We're thinking of that. And I'm just like, yo, I can't even get Bandai to say hello, you know? Like
we had to beg them for a reprint. On my hands and knees. Hands up to God.
And maybe you can chalk this up to differences of culture or something like that, but it's my biggest complaint. It's my biggest complaint. And maybe this isn't really a complaint because I know Pokemon doesn't really have somewhat like they're not like Riftbound. I wouldn't say they have communication like Riftbound either. And Pokemon's the biggest trading card game in the world. So maybe this isn't like me coming at Bandai, although man, I wish they would step it up in this because man, is it annoying. Maybe this is me just giving so much praise to Riftbound because, like I said, their communication style and how I see Riot employees coming out and talking about problems the community has, I think that's what Riot does best. Riot is exceptional at that. They do it for all their different games. They are so good at it. I got to give them their flowers for that, and I pray to the heavens above that Bandai would look at that and they would take communication more seriously. When it comes to the meta, when it comes to printing, when it comes to everything everything that has to do with the One Piece trading card game, I wish they communicated more. This is not just one specific area. This is literally everything.
Hashtag leader lock, Thriller Bark, slop.
Have someone from Bandai, specifically the One Piece TCG division, come out and I want a 10-minute presentation on why Thriller Bark Slop exists.
And I'll point you here to the PowerPoint one here. You're going to notice Yellow was getting absolutely smashed for about a year and a half. Anyways, I don't really have too much to add to this because I do agree with you that Bandai's communication has been lackluster, but I've always found it fascinating.
Yeah.
I've said it several times here. I'm a fan of the Pop One podcast. I watch it weekly every Wednesday. Shout out to
Pop
Five
on
folks.
Hey,
Pop
shout
One
out, Pop
podcast.
One.
I don't know.
Shout out to Five folks at the Pop One pod. And they've been playing card games much longer than me. They've been playing since deep in the Yu-Gi-Oh days. They've been through the trenches when it
The
comes.
Deck Doctor was playing Yu-Gi-Oh. He was playing Yu-Gi-Oh back in the
Brian, they were all playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I believe, at one time. They've been playing card games for a long time. I acknowledge that I'm not an expert in how card games operate. One Piece was my first card game that I actually played.
Yeah.
I collected Pokemon on and off for most of my life, as many people did who were born in the 90s. But they have always said that Bandai's communication is top notch in the TCG sphere. So, based off of that information,
That's crazy.
I have to play devil's advocate a little bit in that I think even though from our experiences and what actual community relationships and management looks like, we have been spoiled by Riot.
Sure.
And their developer conversations and them always posting updated videos and breakdowns discussing the current meta in League and what their thought process was and why they're going to be implementing a hot fix potentially. They have given us white glove service in terms of communication. So switching from that to an area where you don't see that virtually at all, it makes it much more prevalent in your mind that this has to be better, even though it actually could be considered good versus other iterations of card games. So I know that we've already previously discussed at this point in the episode what's going on with Bandai and the Flame Fruit tournament correspondence and how we think it should be handled moving forward. But I do think Bandai is still actively trying to head in the right direction. And while Riot, I would say Riot is here and everyone else is about 6 feet underneath this couch.
Yeah.
In terms of what their communication looks like with the community, I do acknowledge that Bandai has shown significant improvements in the short year period that you and I have been playing the game.
Yeah, they went from diarrhea to shit, bro. Like,
Yeah, they went from poo poo to
like,
pee pee, huh?
I can recognize they're improving, but I feel like Riot is an example of what you can achieve if you just communicate with your audience. And yes, I want to give Riot their props. I really do want to give Riot their props on communication, but I also want to say companies nowadays need every company. I'm not just talking about trading card games. I'm not just talking about video games. I'm not just talking about Facebook, Instagram. Like every company nowadays needs to be communicating with their audience just more. That's where society is just heading. That's where society is heading, in my opinion. And I feel like Bandai, this isn't like Bandai, yeah, they're improving. No, like Bandai, it's time to start communicating right now. It's time to have someone come out as a spokesperson and talk about the community feelings and make community shout out community relations. Shout out James. I mean that's a it's a niche joke. That's a niche joke that only one person will know, but I had to bring it up. But no, I really do want I need to see Bandai improve 10x more than they're improving right now on the communication side. That's my opinion. Am I going to stop playing, making videos with you about One Piece if they don't improve the communication? No. But this is the biggest pain point for me. Biggest pain point. And I know it's a little El Pasión on that one, but I just wish they would improve.
I got nothing to add to that. AJ, got anything to add? I think Dom kind of.
I
I think
mean,
he took about
hey,
3 shots into
the
that
king
dome.
is spoken, man. The king's spoken. All right. That's all I
Yeah,
gotta
it
say.
is. That thing
I mean,
has been dead.
Yeah, Riot has set the standard for community communication in,
Yeah.
I mean, in multiplayer games, trading card games. Like they set the standard. They have amazing people in charge, and yeah, every company should model themselves after what they do.
For specifically communication, I totally agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
So this is where it's going to kind of transition to me a little bit. And I want to focus on something that I think Riot did that was brilliant. It was brilliant from a business level, and that was targeting the Chinese audience before focusing elsewhere with the card game. And the reason why I think this was an incredible decision, because this goes into a bigger thing, which is utilization of IP. I think this might be a little bit of a hot take. Riot's utilization of the League of Legends IP has been used better in the trading card game sphere than One Piece. And the reason why I say that is Riot is very protective of their intellectual property. I would make the argument the only company I can think of off the top of my head that is more protective is probably Disney, where you have Disney issuing cease and desist letters to families who have children who died and they want to use a casket of a character. It's disgusting.
They said, bury your fucking baby in a goddamn bag. Do not put any.
It costs us $1. Anyways, but Riot has always been very productive of their intellectual property, and even on the operation of their streams and how the broadcast looks like for League of Legends throughout the world. They've been protective. They understand that's their bread and butter throughout all of the different projects they've made and they've expanded on. They've always honed on the characters and the champions of the game being a central concept, something that brings the audience to show up, right? There's no coincidence why Riot has 9 Ari skins, 9 Lux skins. They know what their audience wants and they give them what they want. Riot has had substantial influence and pull in the Chinese market for a long time at this point. Entering the Chinese market, for people who don't know, is very difficult. And there's a couple examples of this, right? So from a movie production standpoint, given the Chinese censorship laws, there are many movies that are created in the US that are not permitted to be shown in China. So what Marvel has to do, for example, is they have to make their content acceptable in the Chinese audience to be able to maximize their profitability. Riot, targeting the Chinese audience first, knowing how popular their game is already over there, knowing this IP translates very well over there, put their focus in China. And I think they did it because they understood that if this does well in China, it's going to do well everywhere. League of Legends as an intellectual property is very big throughout the world. The regions are huge. When you look at international tournaments like MSI, we have EWC going on right now. Of course, we have Worlds every year. There's no surprise why you always have over 1 million viewers on the World's finals consistently every year. So the second thing I want to get to of why this is really important and why I have to give them their kudos and why I think they did a better job in this department versus Bandai is because even Pokemon hasn't gotten into China until very recently through their simplified Chinese sets, which I want to say came out a year and a half ago. So even Pokemon, having a 30-year standing IP, made billions of dollars throughout the world. They haven't even been able to infiltrate the Chinese market until fairly recently. Bandai, of course, we always talk about the incredible art and the promo cards that they create. And I don't think there's any coincidence to that they're putting out in China, right? The treasure rares look fantastic. The Sanji treasure rare, I think, is one of the best cards, if not the best card for Sanji in the entire card game. That's such an iconic scene. But even the first anniversary Chinese set, right? And how crazy that's going. The upcoming third anniversary Chinese set and what the speculation is on what prices are going to look like for that as well. Bandai is targeting that market. But I think what Riot did in starting there and honing in on we're going to bring our product there and then we're going to spread it elsewhere afterwards was a masterclass. And I think it's really given them a substantial advantage in being able to grow the game to a very large level internationally. I think Bandai has a lot of room still to grow in China.
Mhm.
I think the 4Asia stuff has been expanding rapidly. But when I think of competing in the card game and being able to put out regional exclusive stuff, I think that Riot has much better control over that. And a great example of this is players are permitted, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, AJ, but players are permitted to utilize Chinese cards
Yeah.
to play in North America. So you can have someone who's English speaking who wants to add the new set into their deck, and they can do that early. Is that correct? And it is legal?
Well, it's a global release now with the new set at the end of the month. So yeah, you can
Okay.
do multi-language cards. So you'll be able to do Korean, French, Chinese, and English
That's
all in one
crazy,
deck
by the
if
way. I
you
don't
want.
Yeah, but prior to AJ, people were intentionally buying Chinese products
Yeah.
so they could add it to their deck, and people in the U.S. who didn't even speak Mandarin were utilizing Chinese cards because that is the priority that they put in that marketplace. And I'm not saying that Bandai needs to do that. Of course, the card game's already grown to an extent. We got global release coming up, but if you want to talk about understanding the marketplace and really investing in something that's kind of been untapped to allow your game to grow substantially in a short period of time, I think it's hard pressed to not recognize that Riot did a fantastic job
Yeah.
in China.
Yeah, I agree. League of Legends
Yeah.
is huge in China. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
League of Legends has China by its balls. It made sense. And also another point that I would also like to bring up: China historically hasn't had like a big TCG scene in terms of playing. Like
Mhm.
Yu-Gi-Oh tried years ago, it did not work. Like Nick said, Pokemon just came into China, and a lot of people don't play it. They collect it, obviously. Pokemon is a collector's market, but China has lacked like a TCG playing scene, and it made sense to make a League of Legends one, and they ate it up. It's crazy. The turnout at their events is I've never seen anything like it anywhere.
So AJ, resident Riftbound enjoyer. What would you say is the biggest thing that Riftbound does better?
Meta diversity, man. I mean,
Mhm.
a lot of people, I mean, we kind of mentioned it before. It's the best ofs. Like you were rewarded for playing off, quote unquote, off meta legends, because if you just get the best record on the most poopy butt legend, you get rewarded financially or with pride, with ego. But yeah, it's I don't want to call it manufactured meta diversity, but it's like you want to play Renata Glask and go 5-5, but here's a pretty metal card. Sure. Hell yeah, let's do it. It's a way to get people to play everything. And a lot of people have mixed opinions on it, but I think the way they approach it is a way because a lot of people play this game financially for financial
Yeah.
reasons. Yeah. I think it's a way to give people that option to express their deck building, their skill expression, play something different, and like work towards something other than I have to place top 8. I have to place top 64 so I can get an invite to regionals. Like it gives people like a goal that is
Yeah.
definitely more attainable than having to play Prismaticism, Alan's EQ, Ali Eldrazi, and hopefully get through the gauntlet to get a top 8 placement for real gain.
And
But I
this is
think it's amazing.
yeah, this is one of my biggest
Yeah.
pros for Riftbound is I don't even care if it's manufactured. I would love the opportunity to get some kind of UP Luffy prize card. I'm sure you would love the opportunity to get like a green Zoro card. You go to regionals, there's like 3 Zoros there. You can like even if
We're
you,
fighting, we're duking it out, man. Duking it out.
like I
Hand
don't
out
care
free
if it's
fades.
manufactured diversity. I think the fact that Riot and Riftbound is just putting things in place that allow people to still compete for cool prize cards without playing the most meta deck of all time. It allows everyone to play a deck they enjoy and still play for something, which is why I like that so much. You love Green Zoro. That deck is shit. I'm sorry. It is what it is, man.
You weren't saying that when I beat you in that best of 3. You weren't saying that when I was licking.
I did.
When I was licking my lips with that Taco Bell after we went to the event.
True. But I guess what I'm saying is if One Piece had something like that, you'd be able to go to a regional. You'd be able to play for something, even though I know Zoro is not the best deck in the format. And
I won't disagree with that. He's down there.
But would you not feel more excited to play?
Oh yeah.
So that's why I think, like I said, it's a little weird because I said prize support for One Piece is better, but I'm saying the prize structure for Riftbound has really, really cool elements, and this is one of those elements that I think is exceptional. I don't know of any other card game that does this. To be fair, I only know of like Magic and Pokemon, Riftbound, One Piece. I know there's a lot of different card games, so maybe there's another card game that does this. But
Flesh and Blood.
this is so cool. It's so awesome. And I'm shocked to hear from you, AJ, that some Riftbound players complain about that, because I love that. And I wish One Piece did that, because
I love it too.
It would give every player, no matter if you want to play meta, no matter if you want to play your shit D tier deck, it gives you something to play for. And I think that is so cool.
Out there playing Volibear, trying to get that Volibear best of.
Yeah. Oh, you will never get a Volibear best of. The guy who plays Volibear is a savant. He's the best Volibear player.
He's the Rayman of Volibear. Son.
How cool is that too? That you start having, this guy is the best Annie player. This guy is the best blah 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 player. It gives these professional players a lane for them to be considered the best Volibear player. And the best One Piece players, if you don't play Goofy, PY Rosie, BY Nami, Purple Enel, Black Yellow Teach, you are trolling. Like, it just is what it is. But for Riftbound, you are not trolling. If you get that best of card and you play, you play shit deck McGee D tier, and you get the best placement, you can go out and be like, I was the best blah 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 player. And that's so cool. It's so cool. I love it.
No. And also, I'm going to say it's a stupid statement. I love manufactured meta diversity. You know why?
Yeah.
Because when I went to Vancouver, I did not want to play 25 Dianas, 32 Master Yi Proving Grounds,
Aurora slop, man.
1,000 Aurora slops. No.
It's okay. Out of the 1,300 players that were at LA Regionals, I'm willing to bet not the Sweet Bippy. You can't bet the whole Sweet
Bippy. Beat the whole
You can't bet the whole Sweet Bippy. We'll say I'll bet a third of the Sweet Bet that 1,100 of those people were playing either BY Nami or Purple Enel.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So
there was 2,000 players in Vancouver, and if it wasn't for best of, there would be 1,500 Auroras, 300 Master Yis, and the rest are Diana. And I would shoot myself on sight.
And that's what I'm saying. Just
in game, of course.
In game, in GTA,
in the convention center.
This is
in the imaginary in-game convention.
In the in-game convention center.
This is such a huge thing that Riftbound does, and tying it to collectors, it also gives a unique card for specific characters. Like it's just so cool all around. This is my number one, right next to communication. Holy moly, Riot, you really outdid yourself with these couple of things.
Yep.
So good. And you also look at like Yu-Gi-Oh, who's doing like microwave prizing.
Man, what are we doing?
And you look at Riftbound and you look at One Piece, and dude,
it's so funny because someone recently responded to the short I made in relation to the Conqueror Hockey's getting announced in OP17, and this is some along the lines of Bandai is constantly reminding Konami how shit they are. And it's funny because when you think of the Conqueror Hockeys versus what do they call the Twilight Rare cards, or just the new rarity of Yu-Gi-Oh that Konami's trying to pump out?
They're like full
belt
arts
the ass
now.
part too, man.
They're like serialized full arts now. I think.
It is borderline belt the ass part too.
Yeah. So
do I think those cards in Yu-Gi-Oh are cool? Yes, but when you look at everything coming out from the fine folks at Bandai. I don't got to repeat myself about the BTA, but Anyways, I got another one.
Favorite saying. It's my favorite.
There's some more. There's some more there. People don't know about the lore, but if you do, you do.
Beat the ass.
But the last thing that I wanted to add in that I feel like needs a discussion about what Riot and Riftbound are doing better than Bandai is the handling of promotion cards. We have talked about last week at length about the exhaustion going on right now in One Piece with promotion cards. Earlier in this episode, we're talking about the round one promo card releases, people waiting over 10 hours
Crazy
to get these cards. You have the Wave 2 that has just been announced. People were picked out for that. That's going to be coming soon. But there is some shenanigans that is going on in One Piece, and it is negative publicity. And this is something that I feel Riot is handling perfectly, which is their release of promotion cards. Every time a promo card is released, it feels special. It makes people perk up a little bit. And a great example of that is the T.
God, they're so good, dude.
Collab.
They're so good. August 1st, I think.
And this is where it ties back into what I say about how Riot is so good at handling their intellectual property, right?
Yeah.
They know how big League of Legends is around the world.
Yeah.
What Riot did initially by inviting some of the largest content creators, aka LS, to play test Riftbound when it was in its infancy. They were saying, hey, we know that you have a huge following in a game that means a lot to a lot of people around the world. Come play. We know that you like card games. Come hang out at Riot HQ for the day. Play test the game. Let us know what you think about it.
Yep.
And LS showed up. He gave us feedback. The Riot devs discussed that. I don't know, obviously, what the discussions were they had, but LS has been a huge promotional piece for
super cool
for Riftbound.
Yeah.
And another example, Skara. When you have IP that is so interconnected, where you have League of Legends into TFT kind of similar to Riftbound of the RIP Legends of Runeterra. That game was absolute shit, but Legends of Runeterra, another kind of card game iteration connecting into Riftbound. And One Piece, Bandai just hasn't pinpointed that yet and being able to really come full circle with how important it is to get out to. I'm not saying they need to come talk to us. Definitely not. Not saying they need to talk to the biggest One Piece TCG content creators. But going back to communication, right? There are plenty of huge influencers out there who absolutely love One Piece and are collecting the card game, right? The Derek Lively's out there, the Antoine Griezmann's, very big social influences. And by pure luck, these people are promoting the card game. And you know what? Thank you, God, for people out there who just genuinely love the IP and want to promote the card game because of it, because I don't think Bandai is doing enough, if anything, in that department. To tailor back to the promo cards and how Riot is making every one of them meaningful, which is really important, because what's going on in One Piece is the complete opposite. They are pumping out so many promo cards, people can't keep up. There's fatigue that's coming out. I was watching the Knights of the Round Table last night, the mega stream hosted by Straw Hat Speculator. One of the questions was, how do you guys feel about promo fatigue? Every one of the people who was there in the stream said that they were getting promo fatigue. And these are some of the biggest collectors in the space. Mm-hmm. If everyone is telling you you're getting promo fatigue, the reality is the majority of people are getting promo fatigue. I know this was kind of a talking point where when I made my short, we were talking about promo fatigue, people were like, keep pumping out more promos. It just means that we'll have a better opportunity to be able to get the cards, so on and so forth. And I don't want to be that guy, but I'm that guy. 90% of this shit's going to scalpers. It's not even close. It's not even close. And the round one shit is a prime example of that. The Flame Fruit tournament. Do I dare say I'm going to eat my words about what's going on with that? I might be eating my words. I still think it's to be seen, but we gotta pump the brakes on this shit. I want to feel something every time I see a promo card in One Piece, just like I do in Riftbound. GG Easy Teemo. Fire.
So cool.
Amazing. Incredible card. I love the story behind it, of how you can get it. Of course, the world's exclusive bundle from last year that's going crazy. The cards in that set, how cool they are. We have the T1 collab with signed cards from the GOAT himself. Faker
Yeah.
in a limited edition exclusive release. This is what promo card releases are supposed to look like. It's not supposed to look like a premium collection coming out every month with 9 cards that are for characters that no one gives a flying fuck about.
Boot.
You gotta pay that.
Pay that fine.
Pay the piper.
Pay that fine. And everyone is just gobbling up because there's resale ability there. This is just, we can't keep pumping out these promos at this pace.
Mm-hmm.
It's even creating character fatigue. And this is something that I also think that Bandai, to no fault of their own, but Riot, again, them being in control of their IP, they've created something. Everyone has a connectivity to a champion if they've ever played the league. You will have someone out there, they can make a Yorick card, and there'll be people buying Yorick, Mordekaiser, all these just random champions that aren't the Lux, the Ari, the Lee Sin, the super followed one, the Kaisas. They don't need any help to sell that stuff.
Yeah.
Because they created lore, they created intellectual property that resonated with people for over a decade, that they can put out anything and it just will sell no matter what. And Bandai has this stuff. They have these characters. They have these stories that matter. And a great example of this is what we saw with the manga choices that they've been having of late, right? And I'm okay with them exploring the options. That's fine. But in no world should we have 3 Shanks mangas before a Nico Robin manga. There is something fundamentally wrong about that. Fundamentally wrong about that. And I think Bandai will continue to make improvements. I'm not saying it's doomsday by any means, but
Of course not, yeah.
that is something, and the handling of promotional cards in Riftbound where I see what they're doing and I'm just like, dude, copy paste. It's not hard. It's not hard. Make the promo cards mean something. Don't just pump this shit out to get sales on premium Bandai 2 to 3 times a month and make such little supply of stuff that no one can even get it. What's the point?
Yeah, I love art. I love art. If the art makes me feel something, that's how it gets me. That's how it gets me. That's how I remember you brought that treasure pack home. I opened it and I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. I love this so much. For Riftbound, I really wasn't interested in collecting it and playing it. I love League of Legends, but I could never really get connected to the cards. Maybe I couldn't really get connected to playing because it was just honestly I just couldn't be asked to learn how to end the game, bro. I just couldn't be asked.
It's
Still
really
confuses
not
me to
that
this day, and
hard.
I've
I
had
swear.
problems with
I
it.
swear to God, it's not that hard.
Oh, it is. It is. Trust me.
You
It
either
might be my
score
One
to
Piece
8
brain,
when
but
you're
it
at
is.
6
Yeah.
points, or you
Makes no-
hold.
I had a
from
13-year-old tell me how to
7 to
end the game, and I still couldn't figure it out. I'm not lying yet. It happened.
It's
But-
so simple. Next video, we're doing a how to play Riftbound.
But my whole brain shifted when I saw the T1 promo collection that you're talking about, and it goes kind of to your point where Riot is so intentional with everything they do. Every decision they make is very, very intentional. Where Bandai, and specifically for the One Piece trading card game, it almost feels like they're shotgun blasting promo cards. And maybe we've talked about this in the last episode, but maybe their strategy, like monetarily, growing the card game, whatever their strategy is, it just feels like they're shotgun blasting these promos. But this SKT T1 promo set, it completely grabbed me by the balls. And I was like, that's when I knew Riot just hasn't gotten in their bag yet for Riftbound. And I was immediately sold. I love League of Legends. I wanted to be in the card game when it first came out. Don't know why I couldn't, but T1, that set, it grabbed me by the balls, and it has me. It has me in a chokehold. I'm not gonna lie. So
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree with the intentionality behind the promos and all that stuff. The last thing that I want to say that Riftbound does better, maybe does better is a little bit of a stretch, but it's kind of it's easy infinite IP. Easy infinite IP.
Because they create it.
Yeah, they just create a new champion. That can be a new card. And it's very, I wouldn't say easy to create a champion. They have to have a game design team, then they have to create the lore, they have to create all this stuff. But it's much easier for Riot to create a champion than it is for One Piece to create a whole new story with a bunch of new characters. It's not like One Piece, the trading card game came from a game where they can just add like one character and then that's a new character in the thing. I think there's pros and cons because I think One Piece can add a bunch of new characters at the same time. But there's just a lot more focus when Riot puts out a champion, for example. So I think it's easy infinite IP for Riftbound. It's kind of like Pokemon. They just add a new champion. It's just from thin air.
100 new
Woo!
Pokemon, boom, 100,000 more cards.
Yeah. So I think that's another thing that Riftbound has over One Piece. Even though I think One Piece has infinite IP, I just think it's harder to get there. Where Riftbound comes from League of Legends, a game, and I think it's somewhat easy. I don't want to say easy. I already hesitate saying easy, but it's easier to create characters.
And it goes back to the connectability, as in you can make a card of Maokai, and there's going to be some Maokai main up there who's like, I gotta get every Maokai card.
Yeah.
And for One Piece, because there are thousands of characters in One Piece, right? Not everyone gets the limelight. Of course, there's always going to be favorites. The top 5 that we was talking about, there's no surprise to me why those are the favorite and the most collected characters, because they've had the most fleshed out storylines for the most part, right? But for Riftbound, it's just much easier to move any champion card because there's pre-conceded love from somebody out there.
They're interacting with those characters.
Exactly. Meanwhile,
like they're controlling them. Yeah.
Exactly. Meanwhile, like if you show me a Papag card, it could be a gold Papag with the craziest texturing. He could be chilling on a hammock somewhere over a beach. I promise you, I'm not buying that card. For those of you who don't know, I've actually never disclosed this. Papag is my least favorite character in One Piece. He's the damn starfish that arrives. I'm not going to say when, but he's a talking starfish, and all that guy does is cry. Literally, he is Deku reincarnated as a starfish, but 10 times worse.
Fair enough.
All he does,
God damn.
Woo, Damien!
Damn, tell him how you feel.
Papag, I got a bad bone.
He
to pick
ain't no
with
Patrick
Papag.
Starfish, man. Let me tell you.
All right, guys. So we're inching on an hour and 40 minutes here. So the battery's probably gonna die soon. AJ, any other final things that you think Riftbound does better than One Piece? I think Nick and I have. I was gonna make a joke, but I can't say it. All right, AJ.
I mean, you guys kind of touch everything. They're just so good at interacting with the community, and not even just through like state of the games, like pick bands, like ban lists, like negotiations, like community to like management, just like talking to everybody. But they're just so good at like getting creators involved, getting fans involved. Like for the last 2 sets, a creator, they give a card or two to reveal in this fun sketch format or this fun social media format, and like creators and big names are getting involved. So then now you have not only attachment to the cards, the characters, the legends, the champions, but now you have these attachment to the creators, and it just fosters this like community of just like everyone loves this game and loves the IP, and revealing cards is so fun. Let's get excited. Let's go to events. Let's have a good time. We don't even have to compete like hardcore. We can do side events. We can do 2v2s. It's just so inviting in every aspect from top down for Riftbound. And there's a place for everyone in Riftbound. And it's just so fun to see, really. Like Nick said, there's some psychopath that plays only Belveth. And when she comes out, that guy will play 1,000 games of Belveth, and it could be the most poo-poo-doo-doo legend in the world. But that person's going to just love what they're doing because they have a Manta Ray legend right in their hand. And it's just so exciting. And it's only on the up and up from here.
I wish I would have brought up that creator thing, because Riot does work with the creator. Riftbound works with the creators 1,000x more.
Fantastic. Again, I want to be so clear because I did briefly touch on that. I am not talking about us. I'm not even talking about people who are in the One Piece trading card game sphere. I'm talking about you have people who are massive stars, right? You have, Derek Lively. Respect Derek Lively. I think Antoine Griezmann is a much bigger star than Derek Lively, but still, I mean, you have a huge following here. You have content creators who exceed past the One Piece trading card game sphere, right? The Anime Men, they were in Straw Hat Speculator stream last night. They have
a One Piece YouTuber.
Yeah, there are so many people out there who love this IP that if Bandai just made a phone call, send an email out, and they're like, hey,
want to reveal a card?
Hey, you want to reveal a card from our new set? They'd be like, absolutely. I'll have a video up, and it's like, instead we are picking each other apart at the bone. Everyone calls each other a scalper.
Yeah.
And thinks that they're the biggest villain in the world. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to end this kind of discussion here, but it's been great. It honestly,
It's been a great
it's been
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's been
I do
fun.
want to reiterate. Nick and I love One Piece. Nick and I love Riftbound. AJ loves Riftbound. AJ loves One Piece. We want both card games to succeed. Nick and I love Bandai. We just hold them accountable. Sometimes
Someone
we glaze
has
them.
to do it. Look,
Sometimes we glaze them. Sometimes we say, "Hey, what the fuck?"
cash that one in. And what
That's
I'm
the
just
best
going to
one.
add to that very briefly, because I understand this has been a very long-winded segment, but I think it has been entertaining and worth watching. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. Who's watching at home? But we just want to see the game succeed.
Be the best it can
That's
be.
it. We want to see the best version of the One Piece trading card game.
Yeah.
And that requires constructive criticism.
Hard conversations.
That requires hard conversations. And I have no problem gassing up, glazing Bandai. We just did about the Conqueror's Hockey SPs, the Gold SPs. We did about things that they're doing better in terms of the playability of the game and how that's just so much better. The QC operation. There are so many things Bandai's doing right. But if you are not constantly improving, in my opinion, you are receding.
Yeah.
And while Bandai is making improvements,
Order of the day.
if Bandai is making improvements, and that's the benefit of the doubt, I've always given them. If people are watching the pod for an extended period of time, I've always said, this is a step in the right direction. This is a step in the right direction. But the reality is here that if they get complacent, if they take a Yu-Gi-Oh route, if they don't continue to keep the pedal to the metal in terms of making improvements to the game and to all these things we discussed, there is someone waiting to take everyone's business at a moment's notice who is willing to do that.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Okay, guys, for our final segment with AJ, we have a special version of our newest segment called Agree or Disagree, where I will say a statement and then everyone will say they either agree or they disagree, and then we'll talk it out. Shout out to the Escape Pod podcast, who we took this idea from. I love them a lot.
Dude, I love those
Okay.
guys. I love Hat Guy.
Dude, they're amazing. Okay, first, agree or disagree, gentlemen.
Mhm.
The big three trading card games in the future will be Pokemon, One Piece, and Riftbound. So that's over Magic. That is over Yu-Gi-Oh! 3, 2, 1. Agree.
Agree.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Yu-Gi-Oh!
my
is already
mamas.
like halfway out the
Yu-Gi-Oh's
door.
it's not even half. I think it's 3/4 at this point.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh came up with that new rarity and they keep the toe in.
Yeah.
And Luffy's over there fully stretched out arms, just pulling him out the door, bro.
Yeah.
It's like you ever see those cartoon animations where someone's
They're
performing,
just like,
on the stage and they throw out the damn hook and they hook them off and they're just like crawling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Yu-Gi-Oh right now. That's Yu-Gi-Oh right now.
Just yoink.
Sorry if the camera's a little off. Battery died. We're back. So Magic, I'm pretty sure people are upset with the direction Magic is heading right now. I think they're doing just like a bunch of like crossovers and IPs, and they feel like the old Magic is kind of out the door. Although I did watch a video from Alpha Investments, Rudy.
Shout
Shout out Rudy. And he was saying that apparently Magic is doing really well from like price appreciation standpoint. So I'm not super sure on Magic. I really can't talk too much about it, but I just know for a fact that Riftbound and One Piece have so many competitive players. That the IPs, League of Legends and One Piece, I think are the future. So I think Pokemon, Riftbound, One Piece, I do think those will be the big three in the future. I think the people creating these trading card games are exceptional at what they do. They're handling it very well. We've obviously talked about some things Riftbound and One Piece can do better. I don't follow Pokemon, but I'm sure they can do things better. But no one's taking Pokemon off the crown's the king seat anytime soon. So, but I do think those will be the big three for sure. Anyone want to add anything?
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Like they came out with a cool rarity, but at the end of the day, you're still playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So that sucks.
You enjoy that microwave.
Yeah, you're gonna win that Switch
Get that air fryer, paying $2,000
fryer. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like Yu-Gi-Oh, you're still playing the game. Lorcana is on the up and up. I just don't think it has legs of fun gameplay. It's very much a my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, which is what Pokemon is, and that's not fun to play. And the Disney IP, I don't know. There's just not like a collectability standpoint behind the cards just yet. So I think this is the big three.
I would disagree to that, AJ, only because there's been a massive implosion of Lorcana collectability. There was this whole debacle that happened recently where people
Market
storming the gates of
manipulation.
Disneyland, storming the gate, literally storming the gates.
Market
You would have thought that there
manipulation.
was
Skip.
some crazy thing that was happening, and it was people trying to pick up Lorcana product. So
It's market manipulation. Skip. It's skip.
Yeah. skip.
All right. What's next?
Okay, our last agree or disagree. This has been a great episode, AJ. Thank you for being here. Is Riftbound will become a more popular trading card game than One Piece.
Now, to flesh that out, we mean overall, including collecting and playing, correct?
Collecting and playing, and we're not talking about League of Legends versus One Piece, the show or the manga.
Card game
talking about the card game exclusively.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, Riftbound will become a more popular trading card game than the One Piece trading card game. I'm giving AJ a second because he looks like he's
deep in it. He's deep in it.
He is
AJ, don't you be scared now. Don't you be afraid. You're giving an afraid face. Why are you so scared?
Bro, it's my first time on our own channel, and I'm about to get
bright in there. You need to turn the lights off.
The lights are bright.
The lights are real
They're
bright
about
back
to slip me a note from the One Piece cartel, and it's going to say, if you say your answer, you'll die, and I'm about to say my answer, man.
Okay, all right. 3, 2, 1.
Disagree.
Agree.
Okay, fair. We got it. We got a little.
You got baited. You got rage baited. And what time?
I got it rage baited at 5 p.m. PST, man.
Okay, well, AJ, you have to give your take because you are the one who.
And just know I'm glaring through this screen at you right now. I'm looking through your soul piercing.
But don't be scared. Don't be scared. That's okay.
Be a little scared.
Okay, I'll start out this conversation. And I don't mean this in a way like One Piece ain't going to be shit. One Piece will always have this strong market, strong player base. Because I'm not going to lie, out of a lot of our local stores, the player base for One Piece is still, on average, bigger than the Riftbound. There's just much more stores that do Riftbound, so it's like the averages are off, right? I think growth-wise, and I actually have numbers right here. Hold on one second.
Wow. Well, I know you can't see us, but Dom and I just immediately looked at each other. So go ahead and get into your analytics.
After just 9 months, the Riftbound subreddit has already reached 65,000 members. For comparison, the One Piece TCG subreddit has around 160,000 members after 4 years. After its first 9 months, it only had 20K people. But now, there's reasons for that, right? One Piece came out. Well, One Piece came out right after COVID, right? The TCG. Like, people weren't in stores playing games that much. I mean, plain and simple. Like, there's a pandemic. I'm not trying to go to a card store of all places, right? So, timing on that part. I think where Riftbound can outshine and become bigger than One Piece, it all ties back to the community thing. Like, I mean, Nick said something a little while ago about how the community is like doing the Spider-Man meme and saying, you're a scalper, I'm not a scalper, I am the villain, I'm going to kill you. Mm-hmm. But like with Riftbound, the way that they're just making the community come together from like casual players, pro players, cosplayers, for fun players. I'm a Cutie Pie was in the main event randomly. I saw Pokemon vendors that are big and popular on social media competing at Riftbound tournaments, obviously for EV. I just think it's just so accessible that so many people can just like come in and jump in and just do something random. And from what you guys have described to me at events, you guys can't even get into the events. That sucks. Like, sorry to bring up a sore spot. I'm sorry.
No, why are we bringing that up?
It's a talking point for me. It's just like, it's not like, we had like a 2,000 person event in Vancouver and people were able to just get in, do some random side event stuff. Bada bing, bada boom. It was a great time. I don't see that level of communication and accessibility, especially in person with One Piece right now. But I do get it's hard to do with the popularity and the amount of people trying to get product and the amount of people trying to get into events to get product. There is a stark difference in how much product is wanted right now. So I'll give it that. But I just see this whole the communication, the community, the banding together. I just feel like that's going to help it propel into a more popular status.
I think you start getting booster boxes that come out at $250 for Riftbound, and that turns into a different story.
Everyone's leaving. It's going to be.
But Riot has gone on record to say that will never happen.
Yeah, you know what? You know what would never happen as well? sun coming up in the morning, man. That happens every day. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen at some point. Let's
Who's
not-
saying that's never happening?
It could. You know what? Riftbound could surprise us, man.
You stop. You
Could,
stop.
I could.
Look. The one thing I'm just gonna add there.
Sure.
Borderline. It's so funny to me that AJ is preaching this kumbaya of this community of people who are literally the most toxic human
League of
beings
Legends
in
hilarious.
the world. So you tell me when a slight, it's like you're going top lane, you're Wusa, you're on a 3-game losing streak, you're about to kill your opposing laner, and you get ganked, and you immediately just start losing full. Gonna happen to every single person in that community.
I've never been more verbally abused than on League of
I'm
Legends.
there.
Bro.
I promise you. And the thing is, it doesn't even compare to other video games. It doesn't even compare to other video games. You can be doing nothing, and someone just tells you, "Hey, man, you suck."
I will say, to be fair, the people that I've seen, like a Hidden Fortress is a shop that Nick and I
Shout
go
out
to
the
all
greatest
the time.
shop in the
Shout out
world.
to Hidden Fortress, man. I know
sir.
about that sauce.
Yeah, but they have like a Riftbound chat. Everyone seems super kind, super kind. I will say, One Piece, everyone super kind.
You put a little bit. You know what? My favorite quote. One of my favorite quotes. Everyone always has a game plan until they get punched in the mouth. It's all kumbaya now. You give them some product shortages. You bring back the booster box prices when the game first came out, when it was like $350. You have people spending $100 on playables just to be able to make a $500 deck.
It's true.
It wasn't very kumbaya back then. I'm gonna say it was not very kumbaya back then.
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen again.
No, I mean AJ doesn't think it's gonna happen. Nick and I,
And the sun ain't coming up tomorrow. Sun ain't coming up tomorrow.
It could. I will say, I hope it doesn't happen.
I'm being a resident hater. I'm not gonna lie. I'm being a resident hater.
It's all good.
I'm accepting it. It's fine. But
He's coming at our boy. He's coming at our.
point back. Hey, no, I got you. Hold it.
Hey man, hey, the minute they make a meta Tony Chopper deck, I'm there.
Hell yeah.
I'm in there.
Okay. I will say, okay, so what I'll say on this topic is, first of all, I think Riftbound, League of Legends, Arcane, just the League of Legends world.
So good.
I think
Masterclass.
I think will be exponentially more popular over the next 5, 10, 15 years. I think it has I genuinely think it has the chops to be one of the biggest IPs in the world, in the history of the world. I really do. I really do believe that.
Bad news though.
Bad news.
Who are we comparing it to?
Bad news is we're comparing it to literally Michael Jordan, bro. Like I just
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the comparison of LeBron to MJ, even though I think MJ is substantially better, is more of a debate than who the number one IP is in the world right now and will be for the foreseeable future.
Man, One Piece has just changed lives, dude. It's just there's so many people around the world who feel so connected to the story.
Yeah.
And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It just there's kind of like levels to this shit in my eyes. And I've been playing League for 11 years. Nick has been playing League for 11 years. We know how strong this IP is, obviously. But there's just this intangible with One Piece. And we say it all the time, but there's One Piece fans, and then there's people who haven't watched the show or read the manga.
And shout out Dr. Mike from the Mega Stream.
Shout out Dr. Mike.
Bringing up what may or may not break the world in terms of intellectual property, which is the WIT Studios adaptation.
We've been saying that for a very long time.
Shout out Dr. Mike.
Shout out Dr. Mike.
But I'm telling
Dr. Mike.
if they can actually somehow do, and it's WIT Studios. It's WIT Studios. If they can usher in a more palpable version of the One Piece story in conjunction with the live action, I honestly don't know what is going to happen. Yeah. I don't know.
I think in a perfect world, One Piece clears, but that's a perfect world. I think if the WIT Studio anime goes crazy, the live action finishes through, One Piece has a story, we're obviously getting to the climax here. It's going to be really crazy. I think everyone's going to be talking about One Piece for at least the next 3 to 5 years. But afterwards, obviously we've seen the fan letter, we've seen how they handle the IP outside of that mainline story. If they continue to do things when the story ends, then I think this is clear One Piece. If they stop doing things after One Piece ends, then I'll say, okay, I think Riftbound can become bigger in the future.
And the one thing I'm going to throw in there, The one thing I'm gonna throw in there is Papa Bandai. I'm watching you. I'm watching you. You drop if you screw this up, Papa Bandai. Do I dare say there's no coming back for Bandai TCGs in general if they fumble this bad?
Yeah, no. If
they
One Piece
fumble this bad,
fails, it's so bad
I don't think there's a world where they come back if they fumble this bad.
because
And I
they're on
think
their
I think they know that.
they're on their like
secret
fifth
Bandai agent knows.
Digimon. They're on their like fifth Digimon TCG. They're about to be on their fourth Naruto TCG. They got like 3 Dragon Ball Z TCGs at the same time. If they fumble One Piece,
There's no coming back. I promise you.
It's over.
I agree. All right, guys. Well, this has been our One Piece versus Riftbound comparison contrast with our first guest ever, AJ the Third. But
go.
everyone watching, let us know how you guys enjoyed this segment. Do you guys want more guests in the future? Which guests would you like us to have?
Do you want to grab AJ's beard? Do you want to grab AJ's beard? Hugging it a
Do you want
bit.
to kiss us? Yeah, let us know. Let us know in the comment section down below. But AJ, you wanna cap off with any final thoughts here before we move on in the show?
Yeah. I'm lucky to have started this with my 2 best friends. I'm lucky to finally be on. I'm lucky to finally be on Bud's Watch. Nick and Dom have done amazing things in the last 6-8 months, a year. I love One Piece also. Go Tony Chop. That's my doc. And stick around for more Riftbound content from us. And Riot, hey, creator badge. I love you. Riot. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone who supports us. I love you all as well.
All right, guys.
BBOW. Real quick, pose. And back.
Okay. Welcome back to Buzz by the Week, where Nick and I will choose a card, a group of cards, a booster box, specialty set, and we'll say, hey, this is what we think is a good buy this week. Not financial advice.
I'm gonna make mine real quick. We got SIM card getting full, battery getting low, me getting hungry. So, Buzz by the Week this week. In connection to what I talked about last week, OP16 SPs. Unfortunately, someone stole what my pick was going to be for this week, which is going to be an OP16 booster box.
It's already back up to 210.
It is what it is. You can't win it all. Can't win it all. But we're going to stay in the same vein as OP16. And my Buzz by the Week for this week is going to be the
Wow.
manga event card.
Okay.
Lowest listed right now, $108 near mint. The card does still have a little bit of a premium because there is some meta viability in there.
Yeah.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, BY Teaches are running 2 to 3 copies of Zihaha.
Yeah.
So it's not having the meta viability or control that a lot of people thought it was going to have. This is just really a card that's being utilized by Teach exclusively, which is I think is fine because I think it's leader luck to Teach, so it would make sense. Anyways, point being. But when you look at the art of this card, I think it's absolutely fantastic. And in a world where you have
stinky, bro,
where you have Ground Death going for $136, You'll Frighten Me going for $215, Gear 2 manga event card $340. The market has spoken. Manga event cards are here to stay in the collector base, even if the players are no longer going to utilize them for the meta. And as OP16 prices went down, you just pay attention to the singles. We always say buy the singles 4 to 12 weeks after release. We're in that window. And just to connect back all the way to when we initially discussed OP16 and the price drops that happened a couple weeks ago, I said that if the Zihaha ever dropped underneath $100, I'd be there, ship door day one.
Hello.
We're tip touching it.
Are we docking?
If I see, hey, yeah. If I see a 99.99 there, I'll be at my local game store. So for all that information, Buzz by the Week this week for me is going to be the Zihaha.
That's a good one.
Manga event card.
I like it. That's a stinky card. I like it. All right, my Buzz buy of the week. Quick little disclaimer. A little risky this week. I'll be honest. There's some information that I just don't know. We don't know for this card. I gave a similar disclaimer for the Zoro, C2E2 Zoro, when it was at about $90.
And look what happened with that.
And it went up.
Look what happened with that. Look, not financial.
Like I said,
not financial.
it's a risk, but like I'm always of the opinion that if you are a specific character collector and something gets to a certain price point where it's not like exponentially, like who cares if it goes down like another like $50? Like just grab the card and make sure
it makes you happy.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. But my Buds buy of the week is the Ichiban Luffy card, English version that comes with the actually it's the Oda signature pose statue. I was very surprised at how little supply there was for this card. I looked up PSA slabs, couldn't find a single one. I will be fair. Hold on.
Makes sense.
We'll be fair. This card came out, I believe,
The weekend
like
of
a
LA.
month.
No, it was the weekend of LA Regionals. I know that because I played against an RG Luffy player, and
That had that card,
he
yeah.
ran that card, and I'm like, bro, when did you get that? And he was-
What day was that? Do you remember? Was that like a month ago?
It was probably a month ago, yeah.
Yeah. So the card came out about a month ago. So there definitely is cards at PSA. There's definitely cards at Beckett. 100%. I can definitely say that. There are currently 7 graded at Beckett right now. Already graded. I found 1 graded copy on eBay, and it was from Beckett. Couldn't find anything for PSA, and there's only 20 listings on TCG Player. You know, that's what we like to look at.
That's a deep dive. That is a deep dive.
That's what we like to look at. We like to look at, okay, if the pop count is low or if it feels like the pop is not super there, okay, why? Why? Because there could be a reason where maybe everyone just doesn't want to grade it. Maybe people just don't like the card. We've seen cards in the past with like a pop count of 50, and we look at TCG Player, 1,000 listings. You know, like it's not one of those situations. It's not graded very much yet. There's only 20 listings on eBay, but this card did just come out about a month ago. Why I think this is on the riskier side is who knows if they're going to do this statue again. I personally, this is my personal opinion, do not take this to the bank. I personally don't think they will do it again because it seemed like it was a special event, but they could always do it again. But I think it's at a price of $190 on eBay sealed, where I'm like, I'll take that risk. $190 for a card that I think is really, really unique. It comes with a statue from a set that I think is one of the best sets of all time, if not the best set of all time, OPO 5, Waking of the New Era. So I like
and
this.
the leaders from OP13.
Yeah, so I like this card a lot. It's not foiled. It's not anything like that. I just think it's a really cool, unique card that you got from this cool item that I don't think was printed a lot in English. In Japanese, I think the pop count is almost like 3,000. So there's
Shout out Austin.
Yeah, shout out Austin. You got you yours,
Hooked me
Japanese
up.
version.
Yeah, Austin hooked me up with one. Thank you, Austin.
So, yeah, I'm looking at this card right now, honestly. I'm looking at this card, and I'm not even a Luffy collector. I'm a Zoro collector. So, I'm looking at this card. I'm looking to get the statue even. I saw a statue on eBay. There was the statue that come with the promo card, and it was like $280 or something.
Where you gonna put that statue, man?
We got
This mighty full over there, man.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I make the. We'll see if I
You turn
pull
into
the
a
trigger on
pop
that.
collector over here on the pod setup, man. You gotta be a little careful over there.
Yeah, but I do think this is one of those cards where I just rather have it. I'd rather have it than take the risk.
Then say you missed it.
Yeah, than say I missed it. And I think it's at a price point where I'm like, this makes sense. This makes sense for me. If it goes down $50, even if it goes down to $100, I'm not mad because I got a card that I think is cool, and I think it's unique, and I think it's limited. So that's my buzz buy of this week. All right, guys, we're moving on to the Q&A segment of this video. Just a reminder, you guys can leave your questions down in the comment section down below, and we may answer yours in the next video. Our first question comes in from Jose, and he says, do you think the people picking up the Luffy are non-players that don't know these are being handed out at Pirate Party events? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I think we actually discussed on the episode that we think the originator of
Big Ace.
Teacup Luffy was Big Ace Trading,
Yeah.
which I would say 90 to 95% of his audience is just collectors and investors. Maybe he has some player watchers. I'm not too sure, but that's where my estimation would be. So
Yeah, I'll never forget when we were at locals. It's so funny because we were talking about the Cup Luffy, and we talked about this last week of how Dom was waiting for the next round to start. He opened up his welcome pack and he hit Teacup Luffy, and he looked at me and he's like, I just made $70. And I was like, bro, that's actually crazy. And it's funny because I was talking to Wyatt, who was playing his game across the room, and he's like, wait, what card's $70? I'm like, dude, the Teacup Luffy I gave you for free a week ago, $70. And he just started busting out laughing. And it's like, I mean, I don't care that I don't have the Teacup Luffy, but not even the players knew that this card was mooning.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't indicate who was buying this card, I don't know what else does. So
yeah, I totally agree. And then our last question comes in from Matthew, looking for ideas. Just getting into collecting and have the 4 second anniversary Emperors, 3rd anniversary Winners, and the 25th anniversary set, but the 1st anniversary set is now out of reach. Anything else 1st anniversary related that I could add to my collection to bridge that gap? 1st anniversary related?
that's an interesting question.
Oh, that is interesting. Oh my gosh. I mean, I I'm a big fan of the first anniversary set. I think if you just want something from the first anniversary, I'm sure the non-popular characters.
Jinbei, Frankie.
Yeah, I'm sure that could probably be like a pickup that wouldn't run you into the thousands of dollars, like Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Nico, Robin. That could be one of your avenues into the first anniversary. I'm thinking of like first anniversary for Japan, and I'm struggling to think of, was that the one that was like $100, like $200 that I talked about that one time? I'm not too sure.
I think the Otama one, I can't remember. But first anniversary, I mean the Chinese first anniversary. Obviously, you have the cards that still popped off. A lot of those are very expensive, so that kind of is going to be tough to be able to enter into that marketplace. But going back to the English first anniversary, you have you can still look for LP copies, right? I mean, this thing has been out for 2 years now. Mm-hmm. While a lot of the cards are inaccessible, this is one of those things where it really comes down to what is your collecting journey. Do you just want to have a piece of the history and you want to keep it in a binder and you're okay with an LP copy? I'm sure you could probably find an LP copy of Nami or Zoro for even a somewhat affordable price in comparison to what Near Mint or PSA 10 is going for. So I would definitely say that's accessible. And I mean, you could even go further and say, what to you means fulfilling that role. I mean, we could talk about the ancillary accessories that come in that box, right? We could talk about playmat. We could talk about the sleeves. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I mean, there's going to be a heavy premium on all this stuff because of how expensive the box is in general. But even the empty box, it really comes down to what you believe is fulfilling in terms of what that slot is and what your objections are, or your collecting goals are. So those are things that I would just consider. I do think that a lot of the first anniversary stuff from every region is very tough right now to be able to get access to, and that mostly stems from the first anniversary in English skyrocketing, but there's always an answer. And worst case scenario, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Just because you can't afford it now doesn't mean 10 years, 15 years from now, you'll be in the same situation to where you can't afford it. And on the flip side, these cards could technically all go to zero. While we don't think that's going to be the case, inevitably a correction will happen, a downturn, a bear market, whatever you want to call it, where there will be affordability. I can't tell you if it's going to be more affordable than the price now, but what I can tell you is eventually these things will go down. So
I might cut this out, depending. So Dominic, do your own research on this one. But I believe there was a Japanese first anniversary set that it was super cheap compared to the rest of the anniversary sets. So that's another. Nick and I just looked actually, and the first anniversary Japanese English version, God, that's a mouthful.
It is.
Is actually only $170.
And put up a photo here.
And we'll have a photo here. And it's not the most
You're not going to have some crazy cards in there, but it does fill in that role. And I'm not going to lie, the playmat is incredible. In a world where playmats are tough to get.
Very, genuinely, I think that's actually pretty undervalued. So if you mentioned this part of the video, I actually think I had this as one of my, we made like a tier list, and this was like one of the things that I had that I think is undervalued. So I still think that's undervalued, and I think that plays the role of having something from a first anniversary. So maybe you could get that and some like LP copy of something, and maybe that can fulfill the role. So I think that's actually pretty good. Yeah, I like it.
Good.
All right, guys. Well, that has been this episode.
God knows what the time is. I'm not even going to guess this week. I'm not going to guess this week.
This is 100% our longest episode ever.
There will not be a doubt.
It might be our first episode above 2 hours. We might even be close to 3. I honestly have no clue.
Well, who knows what's going to happen?
No idea.
That editing room behind me, it's about to be steaming tomorrow. I'm working from home tomorrow. I'm about to hear steam coming out. I'm about to see clouds of smoke when I walk out here.
But we'd be very interested in feedback about this episode, about us having a guest, like we said, about the length of the episode. Let us know what you think on all the different things that we talked about in the comment section down below. We'd be very, very appreciative of that. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Nick, cap us off, man.
I almost baited you. I seen I was going to bait you. Actually, I'm going to add in an extra thank you. AJ, thank you so much for joining us, brother. This was so long overdue. We wanted to have AJ on the podcast. Yeah, we did. First and foremost, for months, it was really just a logistics thing in terms of he had his injury that happened where he wasn't really able to kind of jump in this content creation role, but also on our end, not being able to figure out how we were going to make this happen. And I really hope that in post this comes to fruition because it took a lot. And we really would love to have more people on the podcast. This is something that we think would be great being able to collaborate with some of the incredible people in the community.
Seal Treasure, One Piece of
Yeah.
Insight.
Straw Hat Brother,
Straw Hat Brother,
Julian, Auto
Julian.
Fonts. I mean, yeah, the list is endless. And we really appreciate your guys' feedback in terms of people that you recommend that we should reach out to. And, you know, one thing that I was talking to One Piece of Insight about one time is just that how fun it is to talk about this, right?
Yeah.
And this goes back to like the humanity and the interconnectedness about how people just want to feel connected to each other. And this community, I wholeheartedly believe, whether it's the Buds community itself, the greater One Piece community, we are growing. We are becoming more of an actual like kumbaya. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but we are becoming closer together.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate all the hard work that all of the content creators are putting out there. The list goes on and on. You can add Big Ace to that list. Literally anybody talking about One Piece is helping in the growth of the card game, which is just going to lead to the overall success in the long term, guys. So that's my spiel. A little emotional.
I love it, man.
As always, guys, thank you so much for spending what I believe is going to be. I'm not even going to tell you.
3 hours.
I'm not even going to tell you.
2.5. I don't know.
With us, the
The
Buds,
Buds. Hello.
as we discuss something we all love, being the One Piece trading card game. As I always like to say, in the last 17 seconds, there's going to be 2 videos up, 2 playlists up. One left's going to be the beginner of the series where I do my best to teach you everything you need to know when it comes to collecting One Piece trading card game. And the playlist on the right is going to be all previous episodes of Buds Watch, where we do our best to give you the best bang for your buck when it comes to assisting you in your collecting journey. Also, Dom is going to be linking in our bio our Play channel, where we posted our very first video. Highly recommend if you're new to the One Piece trading card game, you give it a shot. And even if you're just curious about playing, we walk you through everything you need to know. So be sure to check that out.
All right, catch y'all.
On the next one.
Peace.